We go.
Say, hey, it's Pete.
Do I say, hey, it's Pete?
You can say, hey, it's Mark or Pete
Yeah.
or...
Okay, let's do it. All right, do it.
Hey, it's Pete.
Hey, it's Mark.
And this is Dream Warriors episode 20.
20.
What are we talking about today?
Lots. This is a blind episode.
This is our 10 of third episode together, but hour 10 of our conversation.
Minimum.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah.
Hour 10.
Yeah, we put in the thing.
We're out of the intro.
Okay, I got it.
So we're back.
And we're back.
This is it. This is 20 episodes already.
20. Yeah.
This is our third.
This is our third.
But when it comes pound for pound, this is like you get more bang for your buck when you listen to Mark and Pete.
It's something. It's definitely something. I mean, it's definitely a whole other animal. The feedback that I've gotten from people that I know is pretty interesting. They liked they would like our dynamic that we known each other for a long time. It does seem to come through.
Yeah.
That we have similar knowledge, but have completely different knowledge at the same exact time. It's it's really fascinating. We're Jersey bros, man. It's Jersey. Like there's a lot of Jersey in there. I think that
I think there's camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is years of prep work of us doing this in person and on the phone.
Yeah,
and
you said something the other day. It was like, you're a professional. I'm like, what? You're a professional, like, nerd. You know what I mean? Like, we've studied this for years. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, you and I have committed, and look, you've stayed truer to the cause than myself.
In areas, yeah.
Like, I joke a lot, but it's 100% serious. I did go through a segment of my life, a phase, about like almost 10 years. Almost 10 years of my life was really trading X-Men in for Esquire. And I decided to...
I think I tried to get a detail. Remember Details? I was like,
Details.
I'm going to get a Detail subscription. I swear I can like something else.
Yeah.
No, I don't like anything else. No.
So, and I put myself on the path, and it really was about gaining a different level of life skills and different level of experience that I thought that the geek culture was robbing me out of. Like it was stealing that from me, and I fought against it.
So I think the irony of this is you went into that world, and the world went into your world.
Yes.
So it actually traded places.
It's so weird. I'm not joking. I was taking an Uber into the office the other day. I'm talking to the Uber driver, as I always do. I love talking to him.
And you go, how long you been driving for Uber?
Yeah.
How original.
No, and we were talking about a couple things, and we were on a stoplight, like just crossing Broad. And the girl walks by and by the way, the weather here in Philly the last week has been immaculate. It's been wonderful. Yeah. Girl walks by in the Thor shirt. Okay? And I said, the fuck, man? I said, my fucking shit, dude. I used to be in a dark corner in my parents' basement reading Walt Simonson's Thor. The only notable run next to Dane Jurgensen's run in the 90s. Okay? Like, you have to if you knew about Thor, you belonged in a dark corner. Mm-hmm. And now this freaking girl where her jubblies bouncing around, wearing fucking skin-tight leggings, all of it, okay? Yeah, sounds awesome. Running around in the Thor shirt. And it was like this kind of like moment that I had with the Uber driver where I'm just like everything that I held down when I was growing up, everything that was underneath the couch and in the corner and you wouldn't talk about in school is now like my mother thinks Captain America is cute. I live in a world where a girl that I don't even know knows what a Thanos is. They know what a Thanos is.
Yeah.
And it does seem so topsy-turvy to me. I'm still not even over that.
And I think that's where I get, like, that's where, like, unfortunately, like, the comic book guy stereotype turns into me a bit, where someone will kind of explain something. They're like, hey, you know about this thing? And they'll say something wrong, and I just get like, I'm like, oh, I want to correct this person, but I'm trying to be courteous because they're trying to relate to me, but I'm such a dick. Like, I'm just like, you're wrong. That's not Venom's first appearance. Like, I'll just be like, oh, you have that? Oh, and I'm just oh, no.
Real quick, what is Venom's first appearance to you? Is it
298?
298.
I still get...
because it's full page?
Yeah,
It's a full page splash.
So, like, what do we say about... Yeah, but what's funny is I say 298, but then if I said Wolverine, I would say... Was it Hulk 180? 181 is the full, but the 180 is the cameo.
Okay,
right?
So 181, we have the classic cover. It's Wolverine in the mix from page 1. Right before that, I believe he's in 2 pages. Or 3. No, he's in 3 pages.
Yeah,
he's in 3 pages. And then in 182, he's in another 1 or 2 pages because he gets, I believe, taken away by helicopter. Or escapes by helicopter.
I used to love it when Wolverine was mysterious. We
were kind of discussing this earlier, that the age is over for any of that. There is no moving forward. See, this is exactly when we were talking about the Arrival. This is the point I was making about...
You're allowed to talk if you want to talk. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
you want to talk about that.
Like there's a point in storytelling.
So everyone know we had like a pre-show and we threw it all away.
Like a 40-minute pre-show.
And then we had a show we were thinking we were going to do, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I wrote like another show that he doesn't even know what we're doing. I have another show in front of me.
Yeah,
you don't even know what I'm doing.
We kind of did a green, like we did.
And there's no beer. This is a vodka show. I'm not a vodka person.
Cooler. You're not. Are you not a vodka
Not really,
person?
But I wonder if
You're not clear liquid?
But I think it's
Would
fun
you like some
when
whiskey?
I listen to. No, God no. But like I think, but I think like when I listen to the episodes when I'm hour 4 and I'm beer, I'm just like la la la. Like I sound. I'm somewhat crisp. I don't think I speak very well. But I'm relatively crisp right at the beginning, and by the end, I'm like, "Oh my God, Batman!"
I think that's what happened with Norm when he had his little flip out over like me doing the show with other people. Where I swear to God, it was like I kind of saw the alcohol hit him, and it just went from like happy, friendly, giggling Norm into
the beer muscles,
Norm. Into almost like other people doing Dream Warriors is the worst thing that's ever happened to me type of rant. That it was the only thing I've ever cut out of a Dream Warriors episode.
Oh, now everyone's going to want it.
I had to cut it out because he just came off as like so vulnerable, and I know it wasn't him, and it was kind of coming from a weird place.
You need to do an emo, like a 0.5, where you have all our emo. We had an emo conversation earlier, and you recorded it,
right? Yeah,
and I'm totally fine with it going out there in the world. Like it's fascinating.
Well, I think look, my factor in Dream Warriors, like my whole position with this is that anyone can talk about this crap, right? Anyone can talk about,
and they do,
movies and comic books.
Yeah, someone said we have no right to talk about this stuff in a way,
and be bad.
Who needs another one?
So many of these people they do it and they're bad. We're no different than that. But what is different is when people know about our lives. And they know what we're going through, and by that they can relate and dissect some of the perspective with us as we're talking about what's happening, things we're rediscovering, new things coming out. Okay, and I think a lot of it is rediscovery because like the longer you're on Earth, okay, when you rediscover something, it's such a euphoric revelation of you seeing like nuance in something that you thought was like plastic, something you thought was dead, something you thought wasn't good, and you see nuance in it, and then what that does, it opens up this channel to like what else out there do I think, like do I have the wrong perception of, and that's where and that's really what Dream Warriors is all about. Like we talk about what we love. But it's coming from us.
Yeah, it's what it seeps through, and I think what reminded me of that. I see the Miss America book over there, but remember the part in private parts where like he does something and it kind of scratches the surface, and he goes home and he says something to Alice, and he's like, I think I need to do that. I think I need to go all the way. He's like, you're not going all the way. He's like, no, not really. No, I think I should. That's the best part. Those are the best part of all the Howard Stern stuff. That's like giving me goosebumps now. Like you know what I mean. I think that's what resonates. And I think that's why. I think people will listen, or if they don't, it doesn't matter. We're gonna keep talking. that's for fucking sure.
Yeah, and look, and look.
Well, go into your Arrival thing before we lose that thread. And I know that this is the whole point of our show is me and your show is losing the thread.
Yeah,
so you're saying nuance. Now, I saw Arrival with a different mindset, and that's why I wonder, you know what I should do? I should stop and I'll go and so episode 10, what was this, my other second episode? I was complaining about trailers, and trailers are messing me up because trailers give me a mindset and they fuck me up. And guess what my first topic is trailers, shockingly.
So many people told me that listened to that part of your little spiel. Dude, so many people were like, he should just stop watching trailers.
Like they were just like handcuff me, take away my YouTube, or block me.
Or someone did say he should realize that they're trailers.
I can't. No, because this is hang on. It's a very new concept that things were not showing up. But now it's rampant. If you watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer, that's not the movie. There's a ton. There's a Sinister Six never happened. What am I? What?
Yeah,
no.
But you know what it is, though? I think.
Look how mad I'm getting. I get fucking mad at this.
I think what happens is that the stakes are higher when it comes to putting out a movie. The stakes are higher. There's more money on the line. Mm-hmm. We've seen careers disappear when things don't work out in some of these tentpole movies.
You get tranked.
Yeah.
Hashtag tranked. You can get totally tranked.
Dude. Amazingly talented guy too. Amazingly talented, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, super talented. But the thing is that we've seen it, right? Mm-hmm. So there's more at stake. So now, when it comes to the pipeline of putting this stuff out, there's just more of a conscious effort of saying, look, how do we make this interesting, and how do we convey the feeling of what we feel like this movie is, what we think is this movie? How can we put that into a trailer? And I really do think that's the mood that is being captured. And look, it works. It works every single time. It works. There's you can't get any different sometimes than even the initial Rogue One stuff compared to what But dude, people saw Rogue One and they were seeing that movie for a month straight.
They're more than fine. They're more than fine.
Yeah, they were more than fine with even Suicide Squad based on the numbers.
Right.
I think the people have spoken when it comes to those types of trailers.
Well, see, so do you think that commercially Arrival did fine, but don't you think... So my trailer talk here is this. This is a new segment. Trailer talk.
Trash talk. Trailer trash talk.
Trailer trash talk. That's good. That's a good one. That's a segment. Everything's going to be segments, and we probably won't do the segments again. I just want everything to be segments.
Trailer trash talk because
so the Arrival trailer, I thought it was it seems interesting, but then they had the everyone is going against each other. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not. We should always go spoilers or non-spoilers. Doesn't matter. But in this case,
we're way beyond spoilers.
Say I'm watching a trailer, it turns into the world divided and they're going to attack. Whereas Amy Adams was no one should attack these things. That didn't exactly happen in the movie. But don't you think some people were going to that movie and go...
It does, though.
Oh, wait. No, I thought everyone was going to attack the big egg ships, and that does not happen.
Well, no, because in the movie, they misinterpret weapon as weapon. Mm-hmm. So everyone starts freaking out, China withdraws, and they feel like the aliens are about to attack because... They don't know the use of the word weapon. They could be saying tool. Mm-hmm. And it kind of turned out that they wanted to say gift.
Right.
What they were giving humanity was this gift. This is all, by the way, in direct correlation to one of the first books I ever read, what is Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End. Mm-hmm. If you like The Arrival, see Childhood's End. It is... a lot like this. It's very similar. Very similar.
But don't you think there's the guy going, I'm disappointed in that movie because they didn't blow each other up. They didn't fight aliens.
No, because you know what it is? If you watch the trailer for Return of the Jedi, any of those trailers, there's 8 or 9 of them. Okay? Mm-hmm. None of them are even close to what that movie is. They're not even close.
Yeah, but that was the art. Back then, I don't even count trailers before maybe Batman. But, don't you think maybe Batman 89 is the first trailer?
Okay.
That's when the art of trailer happened. Before it was like in a world. It was just like literally as
yeah. I mean, like
it was just barely. It was barely anything.
Yeah. So okay, if that's your point of view, then like isn't some of this like the evolution and if the movie isn't entertaining, it dies. And if the trailer gets
week two will just drop.
Yeah, and
interest then drop.
And if the trailer sparks interest in a portraying like a spirit or an attitude, then it gets people in there, and then people use their word of mouth, and it kind of elevates that movie and carries it. I think the trailer has done its work. I don't think the trailer is responsible for selling the movie. It's responsible for getting you to the movie.
Right. It's responsible for but see, now I think there's too many trailers. Okay. Trailer talk. So so King Kong, the Kong.
I was just going to bring that up. Right. King Kong Skull Island or Skull Island.
First trailer King interesting. Kong. Second trailer better. Third trailer came out this week. It made me not want to see it.
Fight trailer. Yeah, the third trailer was a fight trailer.
But that trailer was a Suicide Squad trailer because they have the same tropes where they're dropping bullet shells to match the music and and then they crash a helicopter. It was seeing the Suicide Squad trailer again and made me want to not see it. So now I was like, what's going on? It's going backwards.
I just think
too much Kong. That's weird too. Like I want to see him, but then I don't. But it felt like it was more him, and I was
I'm kind of okay with that because it's
trailer 2.
Like it's King Kong.
Stop.
Yeah, it's kind of like King Kong. Like,
teaser trailer, trailer 2.
Yeah.
Now there's teaser 1, teaser 2, trailer 1, trailer 2, trailer final trailer.
Yeah, and
TV spots.
And that's a little bit what I'm talking about because the stakes are so high that you can technically argue that trailer 1, 2, and 3, and teaser 1 and 2, they're all targeted for a different audience. Like a different person that is in the Kong trailer 3 is a different audience than Kong trailer 1.
Right.
Because to me, Kong trailer 1 was almost like a period piece. Like it sold an era. And now, like the third one, it's like Smash Mouth.
Well, yeah, now, right, yeah, they're selling like this is like Apocalypse Now, like they're doing a lot of homage things, and then this one's like, no, this is exactly what you already like. You saw Suicide Squad. This is exactly like that, just like that.
Yeah,
like see this ragtag group. That's cool. See that guy's, you know what I mean? Like there's a ragtag group, but they're gonna fight something.
Okay,
ha ha. Like you know what I mean? So I know, I get it.
We got trailers to talk about. What other trailers are on your list?
So Kong final trailer had a negative effect on me. Okay. Before I lose the thread.
Understandable, not understandable, but continue.
Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer 2, Volume 2 trailer 2.
Yes. Thoughts?
Impressive and then disappointing. What
was disappointing?
I don't want to see Kurt Russell as a person.
Oh, but we all know he's in the movie.
Yeah, and we all know he's his dad. I guess that's like it's not they basically just like put out that's his dad, and there is a different actor cast as a young version, so there's probably going to be a flashback. That's cool.
Yeah,
I trust. I do want to say that the aesthetic looks good. I know it's the first time they use these certain type of Alexa cameras, whatever camera they're using.
Yeah,
everything's super heightened. It's beautiful. The worlds look really interesting. Like the colors are fantastic.
Yeah, the colors are. Yeah, you know, like real quick, just because we always talk about it, doesn't it look like Speed Racer in space?
Well, we're
Volume 2.
Yeah, but like we're the only people that like.
Yeah, but it looks like Speed Racer. There's so many contrasting color notes and tones.
Yeah, but it's not as sharp. Like, see, Speed Racer, everything was like it was bright. It was brighter and shinier.
It was reverse color wheel. It was like bright here. Like you had a blue.
Everything's gloss, but everything kind of blends. Like a certain scene is like it all like. I guess Drax is the best example. Is he's red and green and blue. Like he's all these colors at once.
Yeah,
and that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
I just really think that's like with that movie. Yeah, it's toned, but it really is about. Like especially with that new poster for Guardians.
It's so bright. Dude, it's so nice though.
It's so about color,
it's
man.
It's really fun.
I just see that and I'm just like, yes.
Yeah. It's like, definitely it's very interesting.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm very curious if they're all going to pick up on that. I watched a video on YouTube a while back where it talked about how flat everything was and almost color corrected Marvel movies were, like Cap 2
that's
and
true. Yeah.
and they're very flat.
I think I saw something like that.
Yeah,
circulate.
and I was like, yeah, that's right. Why is that? That doesn't make any sense. And then Guardians comes out and kind of flips it the other way. Because even Civil War to a certain point was a little like, it could have been bright. Like but it's not their aesthetic. So I'm nervous with them doing Infinity War.
I think look. You know what it is? There's a chromatic tone that they like a veneer that goes onto the Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. But in no way, look, you and I can drill into it's not as it's. I think the people connecting the dots are forcing it because it's still like even if you go through Civil War, like there's still like to me like bright contrast in Civil War, but the thing is, like even the costumes that they're wearing are all toned a similar way.
Yeah, they're all a little dull.
Right. So it's just like
they're beat up.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a part of it. But even like Doctor Strange, like Doctor Strange to me had very high contrast.
The purples I thought were when they did like when they were allowed
the purples, the yellows. I thought some of the green.
I think they're moving better towards that. I think that's like Gunn working on stuff, and I wonder what Thor 3 is going to look like because. I don't know what that guy's color palette is because he made like a mockumentary and a Kid in the Woods movie. You know what I mean? And that was ironically he's Ryan Reynolds' best friend, and he's
I didn't realize that
in Green Lantern.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Guardians 2, like I think
tell me what you like.
I mean, I like all the colors. Here's the problem. I think Drax. I don't need Drax to become like a Fonzie. I don't want him to jump the shark. I don't want him to turn into that because they're like because he was much better than everyone thought.
Yeah,
much better than ever, and so, but I don't want them to push that too far, and I don't want like Rooker to get pushed too far. Like I'm just nervous at what worked. Are they going to turn it on its ear and it's going to be like Grease 2? Like it's going to turn into like a bad sequel.
I
do trust in Gunn, but there's no other writer. It's Gunn completely, and sometimes he had
franchise fatigue.
He had a framework. Yeah. It's a Joss Whedon 2 effect. It's a Avengers 2 effect, Avengers Age of Ultron. And at the end, you could tell in the press room, he's like, I'm so fucking tired. Like, I hate this. Like, you could tell he hated it. Like, and they're like, okay, great. And even when Peter Jackson, when he was doing all the Hobbit movies, like, I came in too late in the production. None of these are good. Like, he would kind of say it, and you're like, oh. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, no. So when you have someone at the wheel, I do trust a bit that it won't, you can go Scooby-Doo 2, both James Gunn written movies. Scooby-Doo 2 is no good. There's elements that are cool about it, but the stuff that kind of worked in the first one, they did too much of it in the second one.
Yeah.
And it's no good.
But that's where, like, a lot of times I think when, like, you kind of have a hit and you're part of the crew to do it again. Mm. I do feel like that it's just one of those patterns that we've seen because it is kind of like, hey, let's not screw with what we have. Mm-hmm. We know what works, and just stick to this format. And sometimes like it gets elevated, but more times it doesn't. And the only times when it does elevate is when they go completely reverse type in movie 1 versus
Cap 1,
movie
Cap
2. Exactly, Cap 1, Cap 2. I would say Spider-Man 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And then we get the classics like Terminator, Alien, so on, so forth.
Right.
Where
they improve it, but they improve the model.
But at the same time, you're against your own type. Like you're essentially making a different.
So give
movie.
Cameron the second movie, and it'll be great.
Yeah, just do that.
Even though he did Terminator, but like, I still like. We'll move around that. We'll actually move around the Alien situation. So Aliens had a prequel.
Yes.
They had a prequel which was filmed by Ridley Scott's son. Okay. That is not in the movie. That supposedly this is not in the movie at all. Okay. When you start the movie, they awake from cryosleep, supposedly.
Yeah.
Even though the new trailer had, I think, a bit of what was already in that weird prequel. Again, I hate trailers.
So The Last Supper was directed by the son of Ridley Scott.
Yep.
Okay. And then,
that was a completely, I believe, from what I read. I know a couple things about it. They just wrote it, they improvised it, and the whole concept of it isn't. And so the Alien Covenant trailer comes out, and it has the same. Here's the thing with this, is that you have people, regardless of how scientific they are, they still look inside of a thing that opens up and they put their face in front of it.
Yeah,
it's like no matter how smart they are,
yeah,
they're like, is that thing? What's going on in there? Oh no, my head shouldn't be in this egg that's spewing monsters in my face, or acid in my face.
But at the same time, though, like, when does when does anything in nature open and it be good?
No,
especially
if
it's like a proximity thing. Like if you walk,
an octopus is going to squirt you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so many few times in nature when you walk towards something and it moves. Is it good?
It's a situation where it's going to be good.
If nature moves based on your action, you're dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay. So I do see some of your points. So I thought the Covenant 2, right? It's Covenant 2 trailer.
It's
yeah.
Covenant
number 2 trailer borrowed from the short movie or short film, The Last Supper. Like kind of extends out of that.
Right.
We're all doing a great thing and we're colonizing and we're great. Which I thought was...
It's like 5 couples. They're supposed to go to a planet that is inhabitable, and then they get there, there's wheat there.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is normal wheat. It shouldn't be here. Someone was here.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. There are some things that are interesting, but I do think that they're doing like what Abrams did in episode 7, where they're trying to like give you visions of original Alien and aliens. So they have the aliens crew and they're all like pals.
Yeah,
we're like another ragtag group. Love the ragtag group.
Yeah, we're just blue collar space.
Here we go.
Yeah,
I'm Danny McBride. I'm going to tell jokes. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like they have to have that. You know, they have to have that little element in there. I'm the serious guy. I'm the android. There's the android. It's the archetype of that. There's Bishop, but it's not Bishop. You know what I mean? And that links it to Prometheus, and I'm just like, ugh. So the whole thing with it, I just don't know. And then I don't want to see the aliens do what they're doing at the end, but that's what I think.
Just like in full alien?
Yeah,
attack
I don't want to
mode?
see it. That's not fun for me because, like, I think that what's scarier for me is in Alien, where it was just some guy in like a closet, like moving a prop around.
It wasn't that. It's like the reason why Alien was scary. Number 1, the alien looked scary as fuck. Okay, number 2, wherever you were, despite of like how you map it out, like whatever it was, just how that movie plays out, wherever you are, and if you're alive, the alien will be there to kill you.
Right.
It will just be there.
Yeah.
The alien's there to whatever. It's in the tunnel, fine. It's up in the hanging chains, like you know, like it's in the bay. It's in the escape pod. It is there to kill you.
Yeah.
And you
and this was Alien like on the ship as the ship is moving, and like, I just don't.
It
was too wide of a shot. Like I don't want to see the alien in daylight. Like there's
Alien in daylight is a little bit weird.
I don't want it. Yeah, I mean, and it goes into like what I wrote back here. Where we were talking about, you know, we've been talking about things that we think we want, and I wrote like the new segment, familiar versus unfamiliar. So what this means is that we want something. So you said you watch Watchmen all week long.
So are we done talking about trailers?
Yeah.
Can I get your point of view on just one, real quick?
Oh, I do have one other trailer thing, which will delve into a different thing. We'll do.
Okay. Where are you with Power Rangers?
You know, I was too old for it. That's the thing is, it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't.
Do you think the trailers look interesting for you?
Yeah, but I feel like it's
like jump into it for the first time, sort of thing.
I think it'll be alright. I mean, I think it'll be. I'll probably still go see it, and I think that I'll be fine with it because I won't have rabid like fanboy disease. Like I won't go in there as angry as I go in every movie. Apparently, I won't go in there with Venom. Like, did you see that scene where he jumped on the thing? That better be in this fucking movie. Okay, I want this in the movie.
Let me ask you, where are you with? We know some of the word of mouth with Logan. Logan didn't come up once tonight until right now. But where are you with what you've seen from Logan? Despite of like what's
I have it here actually. Yeah, it's in here. So so the whole thing with familiar with unfamiliar is that we comic geeks go, they need to do Watchmen exactly like this, and then they do, and then I go, I don't like this.
Right.
I don't
the hell
this
is,
isn't how dare you make this movie like this? That's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Superman Returns. We talked earlier in the week about this. We were on the phone. We debate this movie back and forth quite a bit because we both were. We went through. Yeah, this is right. You're homaging this movie we all love, and we love Superman. You got it.
You're doing all the right moves, Singer.
Great. Yeah. And then it's like I think it's episode 1 disease. Like we want episode 1 to be such a the perception. Goes to familiar versus unfamiliar. Like where. It's familiar. It's great. It's great. But it doesn't break out. And somehow
what is there any other movie right now that you think is about to suffer from that?
Well, I think the only person to solve it in a way. Well, yeah, I think the new Transformers movie is going to be the same. I feel like that's going to be the same. I feel that what other sequels coming out? That's why I like what Marvel they keep changing directors. I don't think Thor Ragnarok is going to be anything like Thor Dark World because Thor Dark World was too similar. Like Iron Man, we like Iron Man. So what do? You make Iron Man 2? I don't want this. I want this is very similar to the last one. Don't do that.
Well, I think
Thor 2. Can you not do that? Because I just saw that.
Well,
don't do that again.
I think that the movie that is going to suffer from familiar, not familiar. Okay, is that what we're calling this?
Familiar versus unfamiliar.
Okay.
My argument is that when it's too familiar, it's like we get mad about it.
Yeah, is the Fate of the Furious. For some reason, that movie
that's not going to hit.
Already smells. Yeah, that is. Yeah. That is just completely unfamiliar, but familiar because it has all the people in it, and people are not going to buy the turn. They're not going to buy the explanation. They're not going to buy the resolution. And I think the movie's clocking in at almost 3 hours.
Oh God, I hope not.
It's Jesus almost Christ, it's clocking, idea. Dude. It's clocking high. It's
why would you do that? Those movies are cash cows. Because they have to have so many shows a day. There's going to be gearheads going there. There's going to be people I went, and that's the thing is I have a very low expectation of. I had a low expectation of the last one. That was the Paul Walker Dead one, right? And I really enjoyed it because it was just fucking nuts. Yeah. It was just fucking crazy.
Just one, yeah. And
they're essentially all immortal. He has I think an entire. He's in a car and he goes down a mountain and then he's fine and then what's his name? Vince Toretto, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't even know. So but he's in a car a parking garage and it collapses on him. He gets out. He's fine. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's not even
they have a head to head crash and they get out of the car and they start beating each other. You would know.
It's not even that he crashes a car between two buildings. But as if when he's in the driver's seat, there's no force or momentum or gravity that would push him through the windshield and break his arms.
Fine. I don't think they're ever wearing seatbelts if they go back. No clip has him with any type of seatbelt or double belt. You should do a double belt.
Yeah, it's always the driver focused, and then there's a shot right before the jump's about to happen.
Right.
And then it jumps to the person in the passenger seat realizing what's about to happen.
No.
And they're usually they have a hand on the console.
So the hand on the console, and that'll keep him in place.
On the roof. Yeah, and
they'll be fine.
It's the oh shit look. And then it's the jump. It's such a great formula though, but no, I think Fate of the Furious.
Yeah.
The only thing that can save that is if it has a buzz that you must see it. It's gonna
have a huge
kind of
weekend.
Game of Thrones episode type, Death episode, Red Wedding, Game of Thrones type hype that you will flip your shit, kid. You have got to see this, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't.
No, and I think that's the thing is that I think that things need to turn, and that's where the familiar, we want more of this, but then, that's why I don't want Guardians 2 to do that. If they do something too familiar, it can go into parody, and parody what makes it great, and everyone, even the Baby Groot stuff, I'm not sure who that's for. The first movie doesn't have anyone, there's nothing really, even Rocket is terrible, and very, I don't know if they're going to hit the emotional beats. There was emotional beats in the original Guardians that work, where Rocket's drunk, he's outside, he's yelling, he wants to kill.
Yeah, dude, what a great scene.
That scene's great because he's
legit scene.
And it's he's like, I was torn apart and I was rebuilt over and over. He's talking about him being over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then, and Peter's just trying to keep everyone in place. No, hold on. We're about to be rich.
Yeah.
what's also hilarious is he's telling all these horrible scoundrels that they have something in their possession where they're going to make billions of credits or whatever.
Well, here's
no one just jumps those fuckers, you know.
So here's the thing. So like it's verse like what the movie could be versus what the audience wants, and that's what the trailer could be trying to do. The trailer could just be showing the audience more what they want versus re-educating them into a larger, deeper, like world building scope type story that we kind of know is there. Because I'll tell you one thing: if Ego, the living planet, is in Guardians 2, there is only one way that could trend, and it is for deeper storytelling.
No, I don't doubt that. And even having, they're not calling her in this because that's not a bit. I forget what her name. She has 4 names. The Gold Girl is her, who's Adam Warlock's eventual girlfriend, wife. I don't remember.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a sketchy.
She is, real quick, help me out here. And this is the one of the Infinity Years. Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Crusade.
Yeah.
She's from Infinity Crusade, correct?
Yes, she's the Gold Girl on the foil cover, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Which is like the 7th iteration of her.
Yes.
That's what's confusing me.
That's kind of like that's where when it comes to Infinity Crusade in the comics, I'm so loose on how much of that I understood.
Well, that's the third. Here's the problem: is that just as films, the third spin out is always terrible. Like it was like 1, 2, oh no, like you know what I mean. So you had Infinity Gauntlet's great, Wars, and then you have Crusade. No one gives a shit. Like it's just a mess.
War's horrible too, man.
You know, War is kind of terrible. The first couple issues are cool, but like you know.
Well, no, so was Infinity Gauntlet.
But Infinity War did the opposite. Yeah. So with Infinity Gauntlet, half the people disappeared. Infinity War, they're like, everyone has a doppelganger. Like let's do the opposite. Like, well, hang on.
Who survived out of that? The Beasts, right?
That was Age of Apocalypse, right?
Dark Beast. I thought. Oh, Dark Beast came.
Dark Beast, Age of Apocalypse. He stayed, and then there was a Sugar Man who came back over.
Right.
I think X-Man came back over for a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? On
Nate Gray.
On Normanize, real quick too. You just help me correct this. I totally screwed up. We were talking about Legion. Have you seen Legion yet?
Yeah. So that's my unfamiliar.
Okay.
This was. So I wrote down. So let's just run through the familiar.
Show? God damn, that's a good show.
Right, but see, like here's what I'm. So I wrote down Watchmen. Too familiar, it doesn't work. It doesn't translate exactly. Maybe it should never been translated. Superman Returns, trying to be too reverent, didn't work. Iron Man 2, Thor 2, Prometheus, no. Like it just, no. So that's why Covenant is a weird bridge. It was like, I need to be reverent to Prometheus, huh? Like, and then I also have to make something new. But then I also they're trying to pull an Abrams because I think that they're trying to do Catherine Waterston. Sam Waterston's kid. So the girl with the short hair is put in the exact outfits that Ripley wears in Aliens. She's in like a white t-shirt and she has the same haircut. Like they're trying to give you, I think Kevin Smith called it like brand new nostalgia. So when he saw Star Wars, he kind of said that in a review. And he's like, I'm watching something that I know is brand new, but I feel like I saw it before. So when we saw Episode 7, there was a great balance of, I've seen this story before, however... it's new. Like, you know what I mean? That character's like, he's kind of like, but he's not. Like, so we feel like it's like an immediate audience, you know?
Yeah, I think when it comes to, real quick though, when it comes to Prometheus, I think the audience was expecting, they wanted something new.
Right, but the ending was trying to be like we had it in our mindset that the ending was going to match up like Rogue One. Like, we were like, it's going to end... and then there's going to be that. Even when we got in that room, they're like, well there's the engineer, and there's the ship.
I would say maybe.
Well, it didn't work.
But Prometheus was already off the rails by the time we already got to that moment. Mm-hmm. But you were already like, the hell with it.
Beautiful looking, terrible movie.
They're just outrunning a slow falling spaceship, and they keep like it's just it was like run like it like, and even like again. The little scientist poking his face.
It's the best.
Yeah.
That's
the absolute worst.
That was a terrible
one. Of all the ones, that's the absolute worst one.
That's
a cardinal sin. But no, I think Prometheus was... Now, if it perfectly synced up, would it have saved the movie? I don't...
Maybe not, but
so.
I feel like that's what it was doing. But then when it didn't, like, I think my problem is, and why people tell me to stop watching trailers, I think they're right. But like I think with that is that like I thought it was going to go in that way, and then I felt it was supposed to, and then when it didn't, and when it did not, I'm like, that fucking last scene, that's me at Applebee's screaming at everyone.
Yeah, we should.
And they're like, you need to leave, sir. We closed to an hour ago.
Yeah, we should just call this trailer therapy.
Oh, it's terrible. Okay. So.
Oh yeah. So
Logan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about Logan.
So when I wrote Unfamiliar
or Legion, were you done with Legion?
No, we'll go into Legion. So
okay.
Legion is almost like so Legion's probably appeared, I'd say, in less than maybe 30 to 50 issues ever, right?
I mean,
he's in like 5 issues of New Mutants. He created Age of Apocalypse, but that was Legion Quest. He was in like 5 issues.
Yeah.
He's a little bit in X Factor, a little bit, that maybe another 5-10 issues, maybe.
Yeah.
And then when they did X-Men Legacy a few years ago,
it
was called Legion. It was supposed to be a solo book, but they couldn't really have it go that way, so they called it X-Men like Legacy Legion, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah. So where was he between all of this? Like, where was he?
They just haven't disappeared. Like, he's just
That's the thing. I could never understand. Like, he was always there, but not there, and then what's his mutant rank? Is he Omega mutant?
Yes.
He's Omega
And I think
level.
They said in the first episode, actually, like, this is an Omega level.
Well, they talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they label that now. So, real quick, so Legion, in the X-Men episode that Norm and I just did,
mm-hmm.
I referenced that Legion led into Onslaught. And I kind of had a brain fart. Legion leads into Age of Apocalypse.
Legion Quest and Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, and
he creates
it's Professor Xavier having like a schism, like with Magneto's consciousness or subconscious that creates Onslaught.
I forget what
that leads
that's
into.
Even more convoluted. Yeah,
that leads into Heroes Reborn. So that's
right.
That's where I was incorrect, and I kind of knew it by the time that show ended.
Right.
But I just
couldn't write the ship.
I'm
in it.
Yeah. I was like, I will correct myself later. But no. So let's talk Logan.
So to go back to your earlier concept when we talk about like, hey, we know all these characters, we like it, we're in it, but you said the word nuance, and I agree with this. So Legion is taking like a very interesting character that most people can't write. That Legion series Cy Spurrier did a couple years ago was very good, but it was like too weird. And I think it might have been 10, 12 issues, and then it was canceled. Like, it was just like, it was never going to last.
Yeah.
But the guy who created the Fargo TV show, which I've never seen, and I'm supposed to be watching that as a geek, but like, I get it. But he did a very interesting aesthetic. He did a very interesting thing. The first episode is non-linear.
Yes.
I don't know they changed narrative 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
That is against all storytelling.
Well,
I loved the first episode's a movie. It's long. It's like an hour and 20.
The music, the set design, the
colors,
the effects, the colors. Yeah, just I know. I was telling Norm this that I saw a lot of Zack Snyder in that pilot in that episode 1. You know, especially
you love derailed directors. Every time we talk, you love Michael Bay.
I do love Michael Bay. Yeah, Zack Snyder also. Did you know he's the 30th highest grossing director in Hollywood history? And comparatively speaking, with his only 10 movies, that comparatively his 10 movies are in like the top 3 of directors who have made 10 movies or less. Well, anyway.
You and your fucking stats. I'm like, well, I can't sit through most of his movies, so it's like it doesn't matter.
And I saw a lot of Schneider's effects and how he builds into the use of those effects.
No, I mean, I would say the first 5 minutes is cribbing off the Watchmen the opening.
Yeah,
for sure. I don't disagree
Watchmen
with that.
And Wolverine Origins.
Right. Which is the best 3-minute movie.
People forget.
First 3 minutes of that movie is like, oh, wow, I can't wait for this movie. That was actually the best. I can't wait for this movie.
You were almost like when
this is going to work.
When you were watching Wolverine, I remember watching it when I was watching it. Yeah, it was all bootleg because it was streaming.
Immediately. That was one of the first leaks ever, right?
Yeah, the first real leaks.
And the fascinating thing is they were supposed to be working on special effects, and when it leaked, they're like, this movie's not going to make any money. And then it did. and they like didn't finish some of those effects. It seems like the cartoon blades when he's in the like it looks like literally like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I have cartoon blades on my hands when he's in the bathroom.
They just had a lot of students using After Effects.
It was nuts
to do their best with that.
Like the plane, I'm like, they're not gonna finish that.
Yeah, the plane. Yeah, but no, and the thing is though, if you watch that opening of Wolverine Origins, you're almost like, holy crap! Like, this is where they're going. Like, they are going here, and they're like spinning stuff from the comic that the comic hasn't even made this cool.
Well, that's the unfamiliar, and that's what I like about. I think hashtag episode 10. I think in episode 10 we talked about the Daredevil movie and how the Daredevil movie had Matt Murdock sleeping in the sleep deprivation chamber.
Yes.
And I was like, why did anyone else think of that? Yeah. That's fucking brilliant. Like, there's the things that come out, or my favorite part of Batman Begins is when he has a gun and he's going to kill Joe Chill in the courtroom, and then he doesn't.
Yes.
It was taken from him.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow, that's never been told before.
Or even when he goes up to Falcone and at the restaurant.
Right.
And it's like he just gets talked down.
Yeah,
like,
and you think you're coming in to talk to me like this?
This is your moment, dude. Like you've been through hell and high water, and you still freeze at the moment.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, like, but that's
why Begins is really low ranked, and Begins made not a lot of money. It's the worst Batman.
It was
film.
It was a DVD sale. It was the DVD sales pushed that into the Dark Knight.
Yeah, but then you think about that the Ledger portrayal that was nuanced, completely nuanced, and different, and
off the page.
Everyone liked that.
Yeah,
everyone was like, "What's this about?" Yeah. I don't know what this is about. Like everyone's very. That's the most. I think was it Michael Caine? I think Michael Caine talked about the first time he didn't see him before the day he shot.
Right. Yeah,
and when he breaks in and like takes the glass from him, like he. Like the expression, go back and watch that. Like watch Michael Caine looking at him like, oh fuck, like this guy's literally scaring the shit out of me because I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah,
like it was like it was just like a completely volatile situation. Like what the hell's going to happen with this person? He's completely spontaneous and just kills people.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I guess like what your discussion, your real discussion point though is that there's you take the ideas and you kind of take the ideas, they create the spirit, and once you have the spirit of the familiar, like at that point it's up to you to fill in the blanks and execute and kind of create an event around that to complete your story.
Right, you got to turn on its ear. You got to change it, or like take something out of nothing. Like, so for example, and this is where comics are reversing it, meaning that Guardians,
which is also a comic book trend that goes back to
it's bad though. Like
the
it doesn't
Superman radio days where like Kryptonite and all these other ideas came in through the radio show, the Batcave through the TV series, the Batman TV series.
Yeah, Harley Quinn was on the cartoon, then flopped back over. That's
like,
fine.
It's to me like when I look
Mimic.
Back. Yeah, Mimic, poor Mimic. It's that
He's a red shirt.
I really feel like the live action has always driven comics.
Yeah, but it's like they forget. They're forgetting the point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I know episode 10 I talked about how now comics, Marvel especially, is trying to go so like experimental.
It seems like they're trying too hard.
They're trying so hard.
Because I looked into that Asian Hulk thing when you were talking.
Yeah.
Can that dude die? Can we kill him?
It's really annoying. He's a great here's the problem is he's a great character. He was great when he was palling around with Hercules.
Yeah.
When Hulk went somewhere, was it maybe World War Hulk? And Incredible Hulk couldn't cancel for some reason.
Yeah, there's something weird. It became the Incredible Hercules.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And it was Greg Pak and Fred Van Lente, and Amadeus Cho stayed because he was with Bruce Banner, but he stayed and he was like trying to navigate Hercules taking a role. And I don't even really know what it was about, but then they had like a little God War. They had like a couple cool events.
Yeah.
Just really good. But that guy is a very good character, but now that he's Hulk, it's like they don't have any reason for him to be Hulk and he's kind of like he doesn't know how to be Hulk. Like I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I actually reversed my stance on female Hulk. That book because remember I was like all mad that Jennifer Walters Hulk and they call it Hulk. I completely reversed my stance on that. That book's fantastic.
Okay, well, no,
because she can't control her anger and she's trying to just be a lawyer.
Right,
and it's a little bit. It's very. She's extremely. And in that one's. It's kind of hard to describe, but the art's good and it's really vulnerable and it's like crisp.
Yeah, but you're always reading everything. You're always dissecting everything. So you see the waves in what is true comic book storytelling more than most people. Like it really is high and low, and then like even with the most iconic characters. Like, we'll just take DC's Trinity. We'll just say Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. All the stories worth telling come from the Dark Knight. Right? There's at the end of the day, like, you're not giving anyone a Wonder Woman story to get them hooked on comics. You're not giving anyone a Superman story to get them hooked on comics. You're giving them a Dark Knight comics.
Right.
Like,
I give him that book. I give him the complete Frank Miller Batman, that leather-bound book.
Yeah, that's a great
which
book.
my brother-in-law has.
Yeah,
I need back.
There's a Joker one too. There's a purple Joker.
Yeah,
one.
the greatest with a Sienkiewicz cover. Yeah, the greatest Joker stories ever told.
No. It's a purple leather-bound.
It was the same thing.
No, I think it's called The Last Slave. Hold on. I'll look it up on Amazon for you real quick. while you're talking, I'll show it to you. But no. But I guess like the point I'm getting at though is like. Look, the X-Men, right? Great stories up until the 90s. I wouldn't give anyone an X-Men story modern day to get them hooked. There's no way. It's so silly. I'm not saying someone may not have merit and be good.
No, you'd give them Dark Phoenix Saga. You might give them From the Ashes. You know, you're going to give them that like era. Yeah. Probably you can give them the Wolverine, Claremont Miller book easily.
Yeah,
that's an easy gateway for sure.
Extinction Agenda.
That had a pretty good mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would even look. You gotta go. You can go into the Jim Lee run, like even just X-Men, like X-Men 1 through 8. That would hook anybody on comics because every issue is big. Every issue is like something big. May not be the very best because Jim Lee was kind of like running the ship at that point, and Claremont was like, I gotta type in something into these word balloons. Like, and
then he left and created Sovereign 7. Thank God for that.
Yeah,
but see that to me that kind of broke apart and ruined a bit of that like momentum because then everyone had to figure out a voice and they were trying to imitate him and try to do their own thing. And there was a kind of a fun mess of that because it was like Liddell trying to figure shit out, and he didn't really know how to write comics, and some of that still worked really well. Yeah. And then Nicieza was just trying to do like kind of copy a little bit, but kind of have his own little voice, and that was a cool time because things were kind of experimental, and then all the artists left, and all new artists were trying to figure it out.
Well,
that's why I liked. I just talked about this with some of my other friends, like where we love Executioner's Song, even though it's messy. You had like Brandon Peterson just starting out, Andy Cooper just starting on X-Men, Greg Capullo on X-Force, and you had Jay Lee on X Factor. And Jay Lee, they came out every week.
And Jay Lee took the best imagery of that entire series comes from Jay Lee's pages.
Not Larry Stroman's strangely deformed bodies.
No, Stroman had there
was still a lot of fun.
I will tell you one thing: if Walt Simonson had zero discipline, he would be Larry Stroman.
Yeah, I never thought about Walt Simonson in that influence, but that's absolutely right. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, to where it was almost like everything was like a blurred freeze frame effect, meaning like lights and lens flares and speed lines all became panels.
Or people were doing weird things like and I had a trade paperback of the Ballad of Bitter Ray Bill, which is the first Simonson start. But there's someone like skateboarding in Central Park, and he's like literally almost laying down, like he's on the skateboard, but he's like just completely like fell back, like, and that's not possible. But it looks so cool. You're like, what's he doing? That's not even a thing. It's just a random person in Central Park, you know. So to go like, so the unfamiliar is this. So the unfamiliar is what we seem to end up liking. Like we seem to like that. So we like the beginning of X-Men Origins where there's just like Sabretooth and Wolverine have always fought in wars. They fought in the Civil War. They fought in the Revolutionary War. You know what I mean? Or like, maybe not Civil War, but they fought in all these wars. Vietnam. They're in all these wars.
Yeah.
Legion takes a character like that isn't exactly... No one's clamoring for the series. But in another way, like, that makes it better. Guardians, there was no significant... I can't give you a Guardian trade back about, like, this is the best Guardians of the Galaxy comic book.
No.
You don't have that.
That's something you and I have.
So that's where you said the idea, and can you do that, and can you push it?
Yeah.
Like, Drax is a concept, and Gamora had 4 evolutions. That Drax is different Drax than original Drax.
Yeah.
That's a different Drax.
Yeah, original Drax is a green superhero.
Yeah.
He's a superhero.
And he was a villain. And then he
Yeah.
became a hero, but that Drax is different. That was a Keith Giffen Drax when they did, like, Annihilation. They just created a new Drax, and I'm like, what are they doing? And I didn't like that. I was like, this isn't my Drax. Hashtag not my Drax. But, like, get that one going. No one's going to do that. But, like, I didn't like that. But then when I read Annihilation, I'm like, okay. Like, that's the one thing is all of those characters work in giant space operas.
Yeah.
But I can't give you, like, a Nova trade paperback and be like, read this Nova book. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
No one's going to give you a Rocket Wreck. And there was good tales of that stuff. And you can go out and buy the bad trade paperback stuff and read it and go, I guess this is okay. And then they make a new Guardians book. And shocker, it's boring. It's because what they're trying to do is they're trying to capture the James Gunn magic. But they're not. They're just. It's just not working.
Well, no. And that's always... Dude, I remember when... if you want to go back to 89... You know, and by the way, I'm not... oh, here we go. I think I was looking for that Joker book for you.
I think it was the best of, man. I don't think so.
Here it is. It's called Stacked Deck, the greatest Joker stories ever told.
Oh, yeah. It was... that's right. As of Sienkiewicz, I was right.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of there was the other trade paperback. That was a hardback, the greatest Joker stories ever told.
Right. That's what I was thinking of. We was combining. So that's right. Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
But that came out around the same time. And the book behind you was I think it might have been, let's say, Longfellow Press, something like that. But it was a leather-bound book, and it had Batman Year One.
See, this is all purple and leather-bound.
Yeah.
Which is kind of... And it has gold leaf paper, too.
Yeah, and the Frank Miller one behind you is complete Frank Miller Batman. That's Year One, Dark Knight Returns, and then, like, a weird annual story he did about Santa Claus, which makes no sense. Like, it doesn't.
No, I'll tell you one thing though. If like that's what I'm just saying. Like, even the most iconic characters only have a handful of things.
That water?
Yeah, that's water. That is not vodka. Go for it. Now it's like it doesn't matter. You can have 60 years of comic book continuity, and you're lucky to get 3 stories to tell someone. Mm-hmm. Like even Iron Man, like. People that hold that character up on such a pedestal, and there's like what I'm not even sure. Like
I'd give them Extremis. I'd give them Iron Wars 2, which would make no sense to them.
Yeah. Wait, is Iron Wars 2 the one?
It's a John Romita Jr. one, probably only because the art, because everyone's super bulky and crazy.
Yeah, but is that the one where he is teenage Tony Stark?
Nah, that's The Crossing. Was that, like, remember the Avengers, The Crossing?
Yeah, The Crossing, which was a wonderful idea that they later used for the X-Men.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the weirdest thing. The Crossing is bad.
The Crossing. Okay, so
like, I wouldn't even
like...
give them Demon in the Bottle, because that's too 70s and early 80s comic. It's too...
And the hair is no good. It's all the hair is crazy.
The hair is...
Because I think, like, Rhodey has an afro. He's got, like, a big, like, Tom Selleck hair. He looks like Tom Selleck. Like, I mean, that's the way that they drew Tony Stark.
So I'm not even sure. Like, I think you're right. So it'd probably be Extremis. But, geez, man, that's only, like...
That's not that long ago.
5 issues?
6.
6 issues.
And they're way deconstructed. So it's like... Yeah. It's like 2 comic books in 6. Like, it's like 2... normal comic books spread out.
That was the Joe Quesada long form storytelling that frustrated.
Yeah,
that frustrated us for 10 years.
Yeah, and it's still around a little bit.
Did we ever find the Joe Quesada Incredible Hulk targeted run of Mr. Blue? Did we ever figure out who Mr. Blue was?
I don't know.
Do you remember that? With Mike Donato drawing it?
Yeah, it was. JR did it for a while. It was Bruce. Who was it? Bruce Jones took it.
Who was Mr. Blue? I don't know. that ever got revealed.
I don't know. I know there's something in the Avengers run, because I know some of the other iFanboy podcaster guys. Ron Richards still yells at Bendis about it. He's like, hey, what happened with the story in the closet? Who was in the closet? And he's like, I'm never telling that. And he's like, but you never told it. Like, there was a...
Yeah.
You never... Can you just tell me? Like, just tell me. Like, tell me what that is. And that's where I feel like very akin to those guys, because, like, I can't get over things, clearly.
Yeah.
So, like, so what we were talking about, the reason I go familiar, unfamiliar, like, we want the familiar, but I want it to be a bit unfamiliar, and that's what I like about it. Like, the Daredevil in a sleep deprivation chamber, or, like, Legion, I don't know a lot about it, so that's what makes it great. I know a bit about every Guardians of the Galaxy, but that chemistry works.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, something about that makes it work.
Well, I would even go further. I think every Marvel movie is more unfamiliar than familiar.
Well, I think with Doctor Strange, like, I think they did the right balance.
It was pretty dead on. It was pretty dead on. But at the same time, though, like, but to me, that's where some of it felt forced.
You lost some of Doctor Strange, because I realized you can't necessarily do a tentpole Doctor Strange movie being as weird as some of the Doctor Strange stories.
Yeah.
So I realized that, like, that's not meant to be... That book is meant to sell. Say the Target. Say Spider-Man's supposed to sell 100,000 copies. Doctor Strange is supposed to sell 30,000 copies.
Right. Yes.
But not in a marketplace where it's $1 billion marketplace. They have to make Doctor Strange. They'll be happy if it sells 80,000, not 100, but we needed to make 80, not 30. We need to make 80.
Correct.
We're okay with it making 80, but not 30. And I'm like, we're gonna make 30? Can we just give it a little budget? You know what I mean? Can we have them walk around in New York? Like, you know, like, to me, I'd be fine with that. Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, years ago we thought about, like, if you're putting $100 million out, like, can you make like a pretty good $50 million movie? Can you give like a bunch of people $1 million? Like, and just make these little movies, like Cloak and Dagger, like, you know what I mean? Like, do something like that, like, because if you have
the Marvel Knights.
Well, if we tried to marketplace it like the Marvel marketplace, like, they expect the Moon Knight book is going to sell X. They're not expecting it to sell as good as, like, Amazing Spider-Man or X-Men.
I think this stuff, people, I think a lot of the core, like the audience that drives all of this, I think they have these notions that something like Moon Knight is desirable, which it's not. There's nothing desirable about Moon Knight. I don't care how you do it.
The current run is the only run that I like right now.
Yeah.
But I always read it, right? Because I think, like, I'm obligated. I'm like, well, this is Batman. This is like this is an only Moon Batman, Knight right? run. He's a schizophrenic Batman.
The only Moon Knight run that I respond to is drawn by this little fellow called Stephen Platt.
Oh, what do you mean run? He drew like 2 issues. That's not a run.
That's a 2-issue run there. And you know what you know how much money he made going into profit from those 2 issues?
Makes no sense to me.
He made $40K per issue.
How is that even? How do they even understand? I don't even understand how would they have known? That's what I don't understand about. Was it royalty? I don't even know how those contracts work back then. I hear numbers about how they made stuff back then. It made like no sense to me. Like, how would they have known? It's like 3 issues, dude. 2?
I'm just saying.
I don't even think he finished it.
And here's the thing. His drawing and inking process was so complicated that they had to redo how they were producing the comic on the back end because of his use of blacks and the way he was breaking up the line. And the Extreme guys had to teach him how to tone down his artwork so it could be published. Just so it could, like, make it to the printer. Like, isn't that amazing? Like I never heard of such a thing. That
they could probably do it now, but back then probably not.
But yeah, I don't know, because, like, I'll tell you one thing: when it comes to the use of black and the the way you play with it, it's all optics, even when it's digital. Like, there's only so much that the eye can see, that the eye can work with, that can get reproduced from large scale to small format. You know, like, it's like, even now, like, if you look at his artwork now, and if you look at his artwork like towards the end of his Marvel run, because he did like a Cable Wolverine one shot read by Joe Casey, when Joe Casey was, I thought, going to inherit all the comics, and I was rooting for him. Did not happen. I was so in love with that dude's talent, and to see what happened with him.
Well, yeah, I love his Cable run. Like I love the Cable run. I love his Wildcats run.
Wildcats 3.0, right?
That was it was great.
The Cable with Jose Landron that Rob Liefeld derailed.
I remember when he took over Wildcats. It was before 3.0. He took over Wildcats and you had and I think was Lobdell right in the beginning of that, and he quit. I think it was Lobdell it was Travis Dress, and he drew whatever he wanted. Apparently, that was the thing.
No. You're thinking about Wildcats Volume 2,
right?
Yeah,
but Casey had to come in and kind of rescue that.
I thought they ended that. I thought they killed the team, and they came back as 3.0.
They did, but Casey took over, and then Sean Phillips drew that.
Okay.
And I remember I was like, oh wow, Sean Phillips is gonna draw this, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense because I read every issue of Hellblazer, and I was like, this guy's amazing. Like I love Sean Phillips. Like I think he's totally perfect.
I think he's drawn some of the best cars in comics. Sean Phillips.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I love
his cars had
his
like a way of
awesome.
Well, I don't know. Wait, who's that guy that drew like the first one of the new Ghost Rider?
That is Treadmore. The new one, the Robbie Reyes one. Yeah,
the car one.
Yep,
that dude.
He's the guy that did Luther Strode.
That dude can draw a car.
Yeah,
he would be number 2 in my book.
Yeah.
But that's it. My car comic book list has 2
You don't
guys.
want to do the Frank Miller. Frank Miller would just take a picture of a car he knows and just kind of have it fly around.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you one thing. His 3-point perspective Sin City cars work.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Yeah.
Like they work, and they're maybe photographs, but they're maybe like simplistic 3-point perspective.
I kind of love that in the Sin City movie. They just like got the cars he would always want to see, the cars he liked, and they just rented them. They got them from around the country. Do you know about this? He's like, he's just a big car buff.
Yeah, okay.
So Rodriguez just called people, and they brought cars that he wanted in the movie.
What?
Like I find that's like the coolest abuse of power ever. You know what I mean? Like it's like, it's like I'm going to keep doing that. Keep squirting your cat.
Well, he's being
he's in it, but that's part of the. He's like he's the mascot. He always comes in.
Yeah, well, no, Dallas is the actual star. I think he literally gets agitated if there's not enough attention paid to him while there's people here, and he does this every single podcast now.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I heard the one where he sits there and he's just like jumping everywhere.
Yeah, no, he jumps up on
she
the
asked
table.
for it though.
Yeah,
but that's the thing.
Well,
where
she calls him. Heather loves Dallas to death. To death. Like my sister will just stay here all day and just play with him. Mm-hmm. Like that's all she wants to do. And even Dallas is like, look, I'm a cat. I'm gonna have to sleep eventually. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to sleep. I can't keep doing this, lady. Like I get it, but no. I mean, but no. Okay, so your list. Like, can we just jump back to your list?
Yeah. So I'm nervous. Like, so looking at this year, there's a lot of familiar stuff. We have another Transformers. Ugh. Like, I just don't want to do it. Of course, I'll do it.
Optimus Prime goes Nemesis.
Okay, so do you think that's the same thing as Vin Diesel or whatever, Vin Toretto going? It's the same as movie.
No, it's not.
And they come out within the same 2 weeks of each other.
Because one of them is a giant robot.
The other one is a giant indestructible bald man.
And one of them is Riddick. The former ruler of the...
Why is it he can have no other franchise? Like, what's the deal? Like, that last... What was that called? The Last Witch Hunter?
He's
barely got out.
He tried that. I mean, he's tried with
that
Babylon
totally failed.
AD. Like, he's tried high-concept movies that... Babylon AD is not It's much better than, like, comparable
he keeps wanting
mid-level science fiction.
I know, but
movies.
How did the Triple X2 do? Did that just kind
of... Triple X3. Triple X2.
That's true. State of the Union.
State of the Union.
With Ice Cube.
Which is one of the only movies I could not finish. I could not complete that movie. I don't know why. Okay. No.
But the new movie, did it do okay?
Triple X bombed.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I can look it up real quick.
Okay. So I'm nervous this year because everything's going to be familiar. This is the thing that I'm having trouble with. I don't know what Thor's going to do, but like, there's nothing exactly new. But what then to go the other opposite direction is like you have someone like Valerian's going to come out, the Luc Besson, and no one's going to like that. But I do think I want to say that Ghost in the Shell. I'm going to predict it. I think Ghost in the Shell is going to do very well.
Do you think?
I think it looks better every time I see it.
You think it's going to? I think my only hope for Ghost in the Shell was really Scarlet more than what that movie was. So here's the funny thing. So the Return of Xander Cage. Okay, production budget $85 million, which is modest. Domestic $44 million.
That's it? Really? I figured it would at least make that in 2 weeks.
Worldwide, though, it's almost at $300 million.
I don't know if that's enough. It has to do how much. So if it's $84 million, it costs 160 because you double that you have an advertising budget.
So it made money.
Made some money, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like I people have a weird way of gauging what is successful when it comes to movies. If people aren't storming the Castile, it's a failure,
right?
When it comes to this stuff, like comparable. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, a movie that people wanted to see, we can compare it to John Wick 2 real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, like again, like I guess that this is where a lot of what we were talking about earlier about what.
And I hear that's successful because it did essentially the same thing. A couple little changes. I didn't see it, but everyone seems to be pleased.
Yeah. So John Wick, we'll just say worldwide, 127 million.
Right, but that's like what you said earlier. That's like a DVD release. So the Batman Begins. That's a DVD cult status release, and then the new ones can come out.
But I'm pretty sure the budget for John Wick was 30 million. The second one, John Wick 2's budget was 40 million. Box office 128.
And it's still doing okay.
Doing okay. Everyone said it was good.
It'll have a slow diminish. Yeah. Versus most of these movies come out, they're overhyped, they come out, they're not good, they have no word of mouth, and they fall.
Yeah, I mean,
Turtles 2. Well, you could even say Turtles 2 is familiar because we want that, and then we don't want it.
Turtles 2, I think, is the prime example of give them what they want. Oh, here's what you want.
I don't want it.
And people are just like
that's what I mean. I'm just saying it's strange.
I have no idea what the rejection was, where that came from Turtles 2.
Yeah.
No idea, because I thought the effects are phenomenal in that. I think the Dallas is just on a tear tonight, and I thought the story worked. I thought they introduced and rolled in new characters. Casey Jones was a little rough here and there.
Yeah.
But I just thought everything else, like the new concepts that they rolled in. Yeah, they changed Shredder's role in that. They like he got into a different direction. Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman. Continuing things with April O'Neil, which I was perfectly good.
Right. And they had Krang? I didn't see it.
And they had Krang, yeah.
So
Krang,
everything.
And they introduced the idea of Dimension X.
Right.
Like it was all there.
And the Terradrome was at the end, right?
They even have the Terradrome, and everyone said that the ending of that was just like the ending for the first, and they're totally different endings.
Isn't it a hole in the sky, like every ending of every movie?
No. This one they're fighting Krang. While Krang is forming the Terradrome
from Dimension X, coming from Dimension X.
Right, so they're stopping the Terradrome from being formed, as opposed to lighting in the sky for the first one. You can make that argument for the first one, whatever.
Every movie's lighting. It's all the same. But Suicide Squad, we need to fight this hole in the sky. Ghostbusters, hole in the sky.
But Suicide Squad kind of gets a pass because they've referenced that in the actual trailer and the movie. Like, we're going near the floating garbage in the sky.
Yeah, but I that doesn't excuse it. That's like it's lazy. Like it's lazy.
It is lazy. But no. All right. So what else is familiar? Not familiar.
I mean, I guess that's the summer just seems to be like a lot of the same stuff. I don't really see any like dark horse that anything's going to really change. But I am very, very curious about Logan because this is the last time. It's kind of this is what the 10th time he's played Logan. Yeah. And are we really saying that he had 9 failures in a way? Because everyone's like, it's not exactly the exact Wolverine I want. And then this one supposedly is going to be. But my argument is if it is supposed to be the one we want, we won't like it. That's my argument.
Yeah, I get that people... Look, I was saying a little bit this with Norm on the X-Men episode. I like the X-Men movie universe. It's not... I get it. Like, they're not really the X-Men ever. Right. Outside from a couple moments in Days of Future.
Right. Or even in the first one when it's more about an allegory for racism.
Yes.
Or like, isolate. Yeah,
right.
So.
And I said this in the previous episode, is that I believe X-Men is the only comic book of a franchise level, of a marquee property that has a point. Fantastic Four, Avengers, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, like Captain America, Iron Man. Captain America kind of, but not really. Like, none of them have a point. Like X-Men has a definition. That has a point. There's a purpose to that team.
Right.
Now, you got that in X1, X2. You even got it in X3. They abandoned it. They went away for the second trilogy. No big deal. Okay? No second trilogy has no X-Men team whatsoever.
They never get to it.
The
first one, it's first class.
In 30 years of continuity, they they can't get an X-Men team.
So the first one, they're getting it together, first class. The second one, shut down the school. He's like a heroin addict. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Professor
Howard Hughes. I'm going Howard Hughes this.
And then the third one, I don't even know. Like they got together at the very end.
At the
2 minutes.
Yes.
2 minutes left.
Yes.
Now there's a couple things going on. So in X-Men, so they have this very successful lead. This is what I think is fascinating. So they have a very successful attempt with Legion, which is a nothing character, not that much of it's a good concept, but no one ever really did it right. Besides like the original like Claremont Sienkiewicz that people didn't get at the time. So that's so different. It's great. Okay, I want to talk and I'm like. The Riverdale, I really like because
I want to see it. I know you mentioned.
I love it. Yeah. It's like four episodes deep. They basically took a couple years ago they did Afterlife with Archie. Did you ever read any of that? That's where that's where Hot Dog
you spoke about it before.
Basically, or is it Vegas? I'm trying to think. I think it's Vegas. Vegas is Archie's dog, right?
Yes.
So Archie's dog gets either bit by something or it gets hit by a car, and then that dog bites Jughead. And then Jughead becomes a zombie.
I love it. Yeah.
And then it's zombie after, and then there's death. And then it's zombies. It's like zombies and it's like you would think the mashup doesn't work. It completely works. So in the beginning of this show, not spoilers, because it's like right there up front, Cheryl Blossom's brother gets murdered. Or he disappears, like he drowns. They go on at the 4th of July. They go they go out in the middle of the lake and they're rowing. And then it overturns and he drowns. Now the question is, he's a water polo player. He should be fine. And then they find his body. He has a bullet in his head. At the end of the first episode. Then they exhume the body, and he died 7 days after the July 4th.
Wow.
So what happened to him? Who did it? Everyone's a suspect. Dilton Doiley's a suspect. Like everyone. So everyone's there. So Archie, Betty, Veronica. Like Jughead writes. Yeah. Jughead's like the weird. Like he writes. He's like writing articles. He's writing a book about the murder. And
real quick? What's this? What's the title for this?
Well, Riverdale is the murder. Afterlife with Archie is the comic book that started this like weird dark universe of the Archie universe. What they did on the television show is they brought a little bit of that weirdness and they made it like a Twin Peaks. So basically, it's Twin Peaks, but they're all hopped up like teenager like Twilight, and everything's lit like Twilight, like that weird dream-like.
Yeah.
Like everything's lit. But then the other weird thing that they did is they wanted it to be like a CW Fox like teen show. So they made everyone on those teen shows. So they have Matt Janamick, who was in Twin Peaks. So she's Betty Cooper's mom. Alice Cooper, which I don't know if Betty Cooper's mom was called Alice Cooper, which I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
But I think that's really hilarious. Her name, they call her Alice. They're just like, it's Alice Cooper. I'm like, what? And then Betty has an older sister who is in like a mental institution because she dated Jason Blossom before he was murdered, and maybe she got out of the mental institution and killed him.
Wow.
But she's in the mental institution because of.
Real quick side note: Mark Waid wrote an Archie.
That's the reboot. So all the reboot books are all great. The Archie comic books right now are all great.
Wait, is Mark Waid on an all-time run now?
Right now, he
did this.
His Avengers and Champions are very good.
He resurrected Daredevil. He's not on Daredevil anymore.
No.
Okay, but he resurrected Daredevil.
He made him fun. That ended I didn't. It got annoying once he went to San Francisco and he was wearing like a suit all the time. It got annoying.
But
it was very fun.
But and then what's he doing else other than the Avengers title?
He's doing Champions, which is basically Avengers with all the young people.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't work because I think he's 50. You know what I mean?
I thought he had another solo book that he was doing. Am I mistaken?
He's doing Black Widow now, but he pretty much scripts.
Yeah.
He scripts over Somni. Somni pretty much draws it, and then he scripts over him.
I can't believe I just his career just fascinates me. Sorry to
no, it's fine.
To interrupt.
He totally goes.
I mean, look, people have to know. Like, I'm not joking. Like, and you know where I lie on like kind of perception of creators and stuff like that. Stanley rant not coming, but
Stanley rant's definitely coming.
Yeah, not coming. But the whole thing though, it's like there is. I think that's one of the hanging chads when it comes to comics, which is that you do have you have like this internal responsibility to let other people know the real role players and the real talents in the realm of comics, because there's so much noise. There's so much noise, and the few names that hit the mainstream, fine. But at the end of the day, people like Mark Waid, people, in my view, like Kurt Busiek, the non-Watchmen work by Alan Moore, like Supreme that we were looking at earlier. Like, this is the work. Oh, Joe Casey, real quick. Ready? Joe Casey. Talk about Joe Casey again, okay? All right. Superman, hugely overlooked. His Superman run. Worlds at War. He was
it was
part
him,
of
Joe Kelly, and Empire. I'm trying to remember who was like
Jeff Loeb was part of that group. That was the best core of Superman writers that they ever had. Like in
post like Death Superman. Death Superman had kind of had a
working
fun...
collectively towards stuff. Right. Okay. Right. Now here's the thing. Ready? Joe Casey's best Superman work. Mr. Majestic, Wildstorm Productions.
Yeah, I like that. That was early Ed McGuinness, and then I'm trying to think who did
real Ed McGuinness, who I follow on Instagram now, and I cannot look at his new work.
He doesn't finish a page right. Yeah, it's really hard.
I loathe his new work. You can't stick to that style, you idiot. You can't stick to a style that literally just makes love to the eyeballs. That licks.
It was all bubbles, though. I felt everything looked real bubbly.
It was bubbles. So... It was fun. It was good poses. Inkers had fun.
I remember looking at
Inkers.
He did like Vampirella, which for a couple issues it was really fun.
He brought Deadpool to real life. I feel like
it was him and
Joe Kelly.
Him and Kelly pushed that up.
Yeah, like dude, the cover where he's on Hulk's back.
It was one. It was a double.
Yeah, come on, like that's. But no. Whatever. My rants are over. Like, look at people are like
rants will never be over.
This is over. All right. So you were explaining Archie.
So the whole Riverdale thing is interesting because they're basically doing like a Twin Peaks meets Twilight meets OC.
That just sounds like fun.
But they throw in and they film it in a weird way, and everything's real dreamlike, and you're not really sure what's going on. And they actually did something where Archie had a dream, and you weren't really sure what was happening, and then it was in a dream, but you weren't sure it was real. Everyone's cast extremely well. They even have Kevin Keller in there, and the Kevin Keller is like they created him a couple years back, so he's like the first openly gay Archie character, and it was progressive back then when it was not the newer Archie. So he's in there.
The thing to do.
Yeah, so they do a couple of things with and he's a really good character actor on the show.
Great.
The kid, but all the parents of the show are people that we remember from the 90s. So like Robin Givens is Josie's mom. She's in the show. She's the mayor.
Nice.
Skeet Ulrich in it. That's Jughead's dad from the Scream franchise. Machen Amick, who was in Twin Peaks. She's Alice Cooper. She's Betty Cooper's mom.
Yeah.
Luke Perry is Archie's dad.
Oh.
So, and he's great. Like he reminds me a little bit of like how John Wesley, like kind of what they did. And I think this is a Berlanti thing where Berlanti took John Wesley's ship and made it Barry's dad. So you have a weird like affinity. You're like, oh, I know that guy. Like, that's my dad. Like, oh, I feel like that's my dad now. You know what I mean? Because I grew up watching that kid. So like you watch Luke Perry, and then I'm like, I think he's 10 years older than me. I think he's 50. But I'm like looking, I'm like, well, that's someone that's kind of my peer, but it's not. But I don't have kids that old, but I have kids, so it's like a weird thing. But Luke Perry's he's fantastic in it.
I can't believe Luke Perry's even.
But they also something like the first episode, which Archie sleeps with Miss Grundy during the summer, and Miss Grundy in the comic books is not like this Miss Grundy. You know what I mean? Like in the show. So they do a lot of like dynamic things in there, and Josie's and the Pussycats are there, and they're really good. And people forget that
I see what you mean by the colors. I'm looking up a couple stills right now.
Really cool.
On
so
Amazon.
really moody, really fun. But that's, I guess this episode could be like subtitled like nuance. Like everything we talked about was we like characters, we understand the characters, but if they don't do them the right way, if they do them too much like what the familiar. We don't like it.
See, now, do you think that's limited to the type of character? Like, do you think?
No, I think any character. I think that's what I think Guardians proves that because, those books you can't have, and it's actually funny because I'm reading a Star-Lord book came out last year, was pretty good. The Gamora book right now is very good. Like that's what's weird is like they have a Gamora solo book.
Yeah.
All the Rocket Raccoon books come out,
which is really odd.
They had a Groot book come out last year, super cartoony, like drawn very strange. The guy his name was Gustav.
Was that drawn? Was that written by Sky Young?
He did the first Rocket Raccoon series and it was great.
Yeah.
And then he wrote 2 other series after that, and then someone else. He's doing his I Hate Fairyland now.
Yeah. So, that's his main focus.
Yeah. Another guy did another really good little Rocket Raccoon book, and the one right now that Matthew Rosenberg's writing is great.
Like, but do you think Rocket Raccoon has become like their Deadpool and Wolverine, where he gets so much attention, and then once in a while you get golden. You get the golden.
You get the right
the
mesh.
right combo or whatever. But he's the character. I mean, what was the? You're gonna have to help me out here. It might be Steven Skrow run for Wolverine.
Yeah, where he came back. Yeah,
like who wrote that? Do you remember?
He wrote it.
He wrote it. Mm-hmm. Is that the one where
it's like 4 issues.
They're experimenting on Wolverine, and
I don't remember. I think
they're giving him diseases that eat flesh. And,
I don't remember.
Like there was like a
Yeah.
period of Wolverine where it was like Skrow, and then it got so freaking dark, and and that was it. Like it was almost like we've reached the darkness with this character, and we now have to like. I think at that point, like I just remember, like the next book I tried to read with Wolverine was the Greg Rucka Volume 2.
Yeah, it was just boring.
Well, I'm like, the hell is this?
And you know what? With that was where like they're like he's like, I don't even know how to write Wolverine, so I'm gonna have like a reporter write about Wolverine. Like it was like what I thought Wolverine would be. And I'm like, what? Like that run was pretty shitty.
There was like a female feral Wolverine that he was like banging.
Yeah, I forget.
That was so freaking weird, dude.
So anyway. Going into Logan.
Yeah.
So this I mean, I feel like even though this is probably the most through line we've ever had in the show. It's interesting. We didn't plan this at all, but I feel like
it's taken us 9 hours to get to this point.
Right. But the through line is that Logan's coming out next week, and when it first was announced, you're like, they're gonna do Old Man Logan, great, they're gonna do Old Man Logan. I'm like, wait a second, Old Man Logan has like the Hulk,
every IP on Earth.
Every IP on Earth, and you're like, you can't do this at all. You can't do that because you can't do any of it. You can't do the Hulk.
You're flipping your
shit. You can't do Hawkeye. You can't have Spider-Man in it.
You can't have Red Skull wearing Captain America's uniform.
So I was like, well, what are they doing? And then he goes in the San Diego. He's like, Old Man Logan. That's what like Jackman goes out in the press conference and says that, and you're like, what? However, and I don't know. I'm not a gamer. I don't play video games. So someone I know said like, well, it looks like The Last of Us, which is some very popular game last year. But I feel like this is kind of an old story. It's the road. It's like it's like the old man and it's the lone wolf and cub. Like I don't think it's that far off from any of that stuff. But we talked about X3 earlier. What I like about X-Men 3 is that I don't know where Cyclops went. Like, Professor X died. Like, I like the stuff that I'm like, oh my god, they're going to do this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, Professor X dies. Yeah, holy shit.
That's a lot
That's the stuff that I like, all that
that's
stuff.
A lot of my position for that. Because, because at the end of the day, there was not going to be another X-Men.
Right, move it forward and push it out.
Okay, and you had
hence The Last Stand.
You had some of your top actors only available for a few weeks, namely just character-wise, Rogue and Cyclops, and I think Xavier, right? Wasn't it Patrick Stewart only available? I think those three were only available.
Maybe
for
he was doing a Star
weeks.
Trek or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why they were limited.
Do you think that he? This is all we do is go off topic, but do you think that that Professor X? Do you think Patrick Stewart now is more known for
Yes.
Professor X than Picard?
Which is weird as
it eclipsed it,
balls.
Right?
Yeah, but
because that was the quote unquote this would never happen. He's the fan choice. Then he actually became it.
Yes,
and then he surpassed his. Like, this would be you if you did that, you know?
Yeah, so now it's almost like if they reboot Star Trek, people might be like, Professor Xavier would make the best Star Trek captain.
You would be great in this, Patrick Stewart. Yeah, he already did it. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's just
forgot.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Oops. No, I think there's something that comes with that. I think, the way how he handled Xavier in a professional sense, in good movies and bad movies, so, like, despite what I believe, but we'll just say the general senses, in good movies and bad movies, he stuck and supported that character and that franchise
completely,
and was involved. He involved himself when necessary. I'm sure they wanted. I'm sure they were offering him shit in every movie. And he like, what was he in? There was a post-credit sequence in what? Origins? What's the one where they're at the airport?
No, that was after
Wolverine.
No, it was after Days of Future Past.
Okay,
was that right?
I thought he was. I don't know.
Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, but it just seems like they.
But every post-credits scene for every X-Men movie never adds up to anything.
No.
Ever. It makes no fucking sense. Like Days of Future Past has Stryker. No, wait. Stryker is Mystique.
Oh, yes.
Getting Wolverine. Never paid off. Isn't Mystique the president?
Yes. Mystique
never paid off.
Yes.
Like, it never did that.
Right.
So.
And then I think in this one too, right? And in Apocalypse, we have Mr. Sinister take the vial.
Right, but what the fuck is that for?
None of that. I know for sure none of that is in Logan.
No, because they're saying the one guy Richard Grant is playing is not Mr. Sinister.
Right.
Which you could just easily be Mr. Sinister. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
But first off,
he's Sinister, not Mr. Sinister.
In the world, this is what I always think is hilarious. Is in a comic book page, Mr. Sinister is cool. Saying the words out loud in the world.
Yes.
Mr. Sinister sounds the dumbest. It sounds like the dumbest character that should have been rejected off of like any episode of SpongeBob. They're like, we have a character. His name's Mr. Sinister. Like, get the fuck out of the writer's room. Get out of here, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah, this doesn't even work for
on
SpongeBob.
But on the page, we're like, yeah, look at that guy. Oh, what a good design.
Yeah.
Who designed that? Was that Silvestri?
I'm pretty sure that was Silvestri. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like, did you see that Image Comics?
That's such a good design.
The Image Comics. It was an Image Comics.
The Road to Independence
documentary. I think it might have been.
I never saw. I think that's the book, but I know what you're talking about.
So,
no, I never seen that.
So, a lot in that what the most okay, two takeaways from that real quick. I'll just skip through one of them. Rob Liefeld does the best Todd McFarlane impression ever to the point that you just want to watch that.
Right, for 2 hours.
Okay. Number two is that the general census was that the true talent of that whole core was Silvestri. Mm-hmm. They all looked up to the way how he was, just the way how he drew, the way how he rendered, and kind of like just his like pure craftsmanship, which is kind of funny because to me he was always like a Jim Lee knockoff.
He was a B+. But he started before him. He was always like, okay.
Yeah.
He didn't evolve until I think he did the first issue of Cyberforce. He started inking himself. I always thought that Dan Green held him back.
I just, I think, who came on with him? Did Joe Weems come in with him? And then
not yet. He inked himself for a while, and then I think it was Joe Weems, and then Bat.
Bat. Yeah, but
Matt Banning.
I thought Liefeld stole Joe Weems, and that was a part of their fishing competition. because
there's a lot of guys that were just going back and
with
forth.
Michael Turner, where Liefeld called Turner, and then Silvestri was like I have to go now, and Turner's like, I'm going to go do Aspen anyway. Like, you dope. Like, right. But no, it was just fun. Did
you meet Michael Turner?
Never met
nice
Michael
guy,
Turner.
man.
No.
That's what everyone. I know they always say like this, like sweetheart of a guy was like one of the nicest, generous people. I bought sketches of him. He drew me like an extra sketch, which makes no fucking sense.
Oh, cool.
He drew because I said something. He drew a full figure Nottingham, which was a villain of like Witchblade.
Do you still have those?
Nah, I think I sold them.
You sold them.
I sold him before he died.
Yeah,
probably worth more now. But like, but always just like a really nice guy, like super nice guy. But I do think it's weird that they're still trying to make Aspen Comics.
Dude, I thought
later. And I guess it's fine. I
thought Aspen Comics would have folded 3 times by now. How does that company
They at least
still
put 2
exist?
to 3 books out of. I think they make at least 2 books a month.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
And I don't know anything that they've done though. Like they put out a lot of like outside of like non-Fathom books.
Yeah.
Like it's Dragonfire or Dragon Soul Dragonfire thing, and Fathom.
All those.
And then something else that's like dumb and trendy. Oh wait, I know the other one. I think it's Isis, the Secretary Assassin.
Yeah. And that's such a good, like, it's such a weird, like, it's like a Japanese concept, and it just kind of works. Executive assistant.
Executive assistant. Wait.
Iris. They had more. They had a couple of them. Executive assistant Iris. Executive assistant. Oh my god.
Well, were they also behind Lady Mechanica?
Maybe
the Joe
Benitez. I think Benitez owns it. He self-publishes Magdalena, I think, still somehow through Joe Benitez Publishing. I want to say a couple years ago I saw that.
He still draws comics?
He only does his own thing, and the weird thing is like I feel bad because
kind of like Jim Ballard and Taro.
And Taro. Well, apparently that's fine. Like, it kind of goes back to
makes enough to cover.
That's all he wants.
The bills. Yeah.
Tim and Holly, and they live up in like northern PA.
That dude is such a talent, man. But
see, I feel like because they're not in the world. Whenever I look at anything, I feel like that they lose something because there's no one pushing them. There's no editor.
I 100% agree. You know who died like that, and I hate saying it because I think he drew the best Hulk ever, but Dale Keown.
Yeah, he's not challenged, and I don't know sequentially. He did something recently sequentially, but it just didn't really work.
Well, Top Cow was pushing him for Darkness, and he again drew some of the best Darkness drawings of that character ever. Mm-hmm. But covers, and I don't care. Like covers or not, dude. That dude's line work is so. It's hard to describe. Like it's not symmetrical. His inking
was very thick and very everything had a lot of weight to it, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. No one else really looked like that.
But as soon as he was like off of Hulk and he got through that initial run with Pitt, and he went to Full Bleed, like he was publishing himself Full Bleed. Dude, the Full Bleed stuff is like
it's really heavy inks.
It's really dark, and it's just kind of like sloppy and lazy. And
he would have like. The cover was just an interior panel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck you, man. I was just like, mad
he would
about
even
that.
have spreadsheets as single pages, and you can tell that they were blown up. Like you could tell that they were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was. There was no. He's like, I gotta get this book.
There was no crisp. The lines were not even crisp, and you're just looking at it, and you're just like, oh, Dale Keown.
Yeah.
But dude, that guy at the end of the day, best Hulk artist.
Yeah, I agree.
He's drawn the best Hulk.
Yeah,
still.
That's still. There's like I think 5 issues in the middle of that. I'd have to say like there's a couple issues there where they're in Hulk's brain with 3 Hulks. Where it was Banner, Gray Hulk, Green Hulk. There's only like 2-3 issues.
Yeah,
that's like the best Hulk ever. Like that, just the 3. I could throw. Not that I could. If I had 3 issues of Hulk, that would be it.
Vaguely, but you just talking about that kind of reminds me of the Alan Moore Swamp Thing Blue issue,
right?
Where he creates the world and brings back the wife, and
that's probably the that's like, gonna be good.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you one thing because I love talking about things that I love.
That's the show. That's the whole show.
Alan Moore Supreme. I think issue 2 of the Awesome Comics series of Supreme. They're inside Jack Kirby's head.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Dude,
right.
come on, man. That's one of the best issues. I got that issue right over there on my ottoman.
Yeah.
It never leaves my side. I go
It
through
never
it.
leaves my side.
I go through it. There's only a handful of comics that I still like that I keep around. Like, just for me.
Yeah.
Like, that aren't from the collection that I'll unloading.
No, we'll have to think about that. We'll have to
make
make that a future topic. We'll have to pull comics. You know,
because
just like
I'll
this
tell
is
you
one of my
one
favorite
thing.
comics ever.
It's not worth going into Stan Lee's head because it will be
We're
a
not doing
criminal's
it.
head. It will be a criminal
No,
mind.
it's not.
It will be a thief's mind. It will
I
be,
don't
and,
think.
and
Okay,
it would also
you know what?
be empty. It would,
I'll tell you something right now. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Stan Lee, because those books were marketed a certain way,
we were just
and
talking
then
about
there was
movies.
two shops.
We were just talking about movies.
We wouldn't know each other because we wouldn't work in the comic book stores. There would be no comic book stores. We wouldn't know each other.
Look,
The only way we're here is because of Stan Lee.
No.
I'm taking that stance. Hashtag episode 20 Stan Lee.
I would say we're here because some butterfly flapped its wings. Okay.
And I knew I was okay because the footprints were always picked up. What are we doing? I don't know. I'm all over every metaphor ever.
We know each other.
I'm saying Stan Lee is the reason we know each other.
Stan Lee. If Stan Lee is the reason why we know each other, that is it for me. Then that is it.
That's the end of the show. End of the show, everyone.
Dream Warriors lasted 20 episodes.
All right,
because we got someone.
We gotta go back to Logan.
Because I'll tell you. I'll tell you one thing. if I treated you when it comes to contribution and collaboration, and just general, like, this is the guy I'm doing this with feature, like the same stuff I do with Norm and all this other stuff. If I treated you or Norm the same way that Stan Lee has treated every one of his collaborators, the two of you guys would slit my throat and hang me out to dry.
It's just
I will leave. There you go. That pause was it.
You had me thinking. All right.
Like,
we'll agree to disagree.
In no freaking
there
way.
There will be an episode 21.
In no way would Mark find that acceptable.
Okay.
In no freaking way, because you would be like, look, you asshole. Like, you don't realize I worked all day. I came over, I sat down, I told you my life story. We talked about my ex-wife. I wrote down
You did record that.
Yeah. We got like a bunch of notes. Like, I wrote down the episode. I drafted the episode. We have notes. You took that credit away from me, the effort I put in. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be like, look, asshole. You gave me one paragraph.
It's the same thing, I guess.
You lazy asshole.
And...
You gave me one paragraph, and I gave you 3 issues of Fantastic Four and created 2 of your company's icons that you still make money off of today. Then you can't even put me in, like, a cartoon where you're rendered as a creator. You can't do it. Like, you gonna put Stan Lee in the cartoon? Stan Lee should be like, no. Like... You have to draw Jack with me. I'm in this cartoon with Jack. I'm in this cartoon with Steve Ditko. Because I'm here. Like, how about Stan Lee's not there over those guys? Stan Lee's not there if it wasn't for Ditko.
There wouldn't be so much without him.
Your argument has fallen apart on all fronts now. You must concede.
I'm trying to go back to the episode.
This is your Waterloo.
This is what I wanted. I'm just trying to go back to the episode. I'm trying to go back to Logan. We have to finish our Logan concept.
I think the thumbnail for this episode is going to be Stan Lee in the Napoleon hat. This is the Stan Lee Waterloo. Right. Because if we extrapolated his treatment to himself and to others, then his treatment is now expressed and exposed. Period. Tell me about Logan.
Okay. So
tell me about this fucking Logan. No.
So this is not our old man Logan movie that we want. What's that saying? Like, this is not what you want, but it's what you need. Something like that.
Right.
That fucking analogy. But I don't disagree with that because I think this will work. And the other argument too is like this will be the Wolverine always. There's no run, just like we always say. There's no run where like Wolverine went berserk. Remember that? No, there was moments of that concept. Yeah. But we all want to believe in our mind that there was like 6 issues straight where he just chopped people up. Okay, that never happened. No. That's not a thing.
Hellfire Club, right?
It's like 4 pounds. It's a great 4 pounds.
Hellfire, sewer, emergence, kill.
Correct.
Okay, I'm trying to think of
another Berserk Wolverine. You can't.
I mean, he went feral, but that's not the same. And he got his
That's
nose,
way after the concept of the Berserk Wolverine.
He got his nose erased.
Because his body couldn't handle... What the fuck was the reason for that? His body was revolting against...
It couldn't handle the shock of that. I'll tell you one thing. In that stretch, though, the best moment of that stretch when they took out Wolverine, because Wolverine became friends with Elektra in, the Savage Land. They were buddies. It
was Balsam Extra. Okay. Yeah, it was cool.
But I will say this. The X-Men had Sabretooth, right? They had Sabretooth captured, and Professor Xavier tries to Professor Xavier Sabretooth in the X-Men main show.
Logan.
Yeah. and he doesn't have any effect. And then Psylocke befriends Sabretooth, and then he breaks out and thrashes her. Joe Mad panels, okay?
Oh yeah.
When Joe Mad was really ascending, okay? That one issue, I don't remember the issue off the top of my head. That one issue is the best post Jim Lee into Disaster issue. Between Jim Lee and Disaster, that is their single best issue outside of Age of Apocalypse and the Onslaught stuff, which I just love. I just love those big, epic, crazy storylines. But
Adam Kubert was good.
Yeah, there's just, look, it's so many big ideas, and there's so much there to mine, even for future movies and television and everything. There's just so much there.
Yeah, I just don't know. So this is
anyway.
They're going to bookend Logan. This is the end of all of that. But that's the thing is that when we first heard about it, every IP ever can't be in this movie.
Correct.
So the Old Man Logan story that they're not really doing it at all. That's what I think is kind of cool about it. But I do like the fact that he we've never seen him have trouble retracting his claws, having I think it's that he can't heal all the way now. He's really old. So I like all this. I think this is really interesting.
Well, the one thing that I like about this that got me even excited about, I like when things end. It's just it's like a little bit of that. I remember I'll always being disappointed when I was younger when they would hype big storylines and characters would not die. It just always was disappointing. This is where, even when I was a kid, death in the family was dude, that was the biggest thing ever in my mind. And even to this day, to me, and I talked about this before, the Joker has won in that. There's nothing the Dark Knight can do to get over on the Joker anymore. Right. Throwing him in prison Arkham does nothing. Killing him does nothing. The Joker has won that conflict. But anyway, X-Men 3, going through X-Men 3 and knowing that they were ending it, it was the end, and they had balls to kill people off, they had the balls to move things forward, always stood out. I have a feeling this will be that, and that is my sole reason to get just to get excited. They're going to end it. They're going to put a final stamp on this. And
it's funny. It's the opposite effect. So Deadpool had an effect on Suicide Squad the wrong way. So we talked about this in episode 10. Was when Deadpool came out, made a lot of money. Then Superman and Batman came out, and they were like, okay, we have this movie that's kind of villains, but this one didn't work, so let's retool that to be more like this. Right. And then it's just a failure. But I want to say Deadpool's rated R pushed the level that they could make a rated R movie, still make money, and be true to the character. So in this way, they were because I feel like the Wolverine is good and almost there, but it has a weird third act, and it just doesn't, it turns into every other movie after the third act.
Yeah, the Wolverine is awesome up until the very end. But I like the journey there. I like the stuff that they do with him there. Could be more of a punch? Sure. Can Iron Man 2 be more of a punch? Could. A lot. It's just something that happens in these movies.
Yeah, it just feels like sticky fingers are in the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it just gets messy.
All right, so I have that Sabretooth, Psylocke, Joe Madara drawn X-Men comic up. Is issue ready? 328. And would you like to see the cover?
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it is one of it's one of their standout.
Tim Townsend, I think. Thanks.
Dude, isn't like how talented is he? As a straight up,
it's weird because like who Tim Townsend?
Yeah, he
I don't know if he's doing anything now.
He adds
Mickey is doing stuff now, and he's great.
Mickey's always been the best.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a run like right. There's no one. I mean, maybe Hannah. Maybe Scott Hanna, Claus Jansen maybe, but Jansen crosses over. You don't know where he begins and other people start.
Right. Jansen's not as heavy as Sienkiewicz, but he's heavy.
Yeah.
And a good heavy.
Then you got maybe like Carmen Infantino, and you have maybe Herb Trent, but also those were crossover guys. Mm-hmm. Like people that were straight up inkers. It's tough, man.
Milgram.
Al Milgram.
So, I mean, the thing with Logan, the funny thing is I think the X-23 factor is going to work completely. I think it's going to work completely.
Is this weird to you that she's in the movie?
That's going to work? Well,
like, wow.
Remember,
they've done it. Like,
yeah. We reject. I think when it was coming around, we were like, I don't know who wants this. And then it stayed, and it's fine now. Like, it's actually, she's Wolverine now in the books. And it'll go back to an earlier point with what are you going to do with, you can't do any more with the mystery of Logan went away when they told every bit of his origin, and then he remembered everything after Age of Ultron, the real Age of Ultron in the comics. He remembers everything after House of M.
I was going to say, was it House of M? Then, yeah.
But I want to say Age of Ultron something else. He remembers the other.
He remembers
that universe too.
Yes.
So he doesn't.
What are you doing here?
He went from forgetting everything. Well, here's the point: is that.
To now,
in the comic books, they had no more stories to tell with him, so they literally killed him off in the comic books.
Yeah, so tell me about what happened with that.
So they made a pretty good series.
Encased himself in adamantium.
Someone else was
whatever.
So
like just
Paul Jenkins. Basically, the thing I didn't like about
Jenkins
Origin,
wrote it.
No, Jenkins wrote Origin off of and I believe we're both pretty early Jenkins fans. Later, it kind of gets messy.
But Humans and underrated Top Cow series called Universe. Hugely. Oh,
yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm not mad at you.
Just got no. You gotta know about Universe. Okay.
So they wanted him back to do the end. And then apparently they were. It made sense, and they were trying to kind of craft him.
With that. Yeah.
But they were telling him how it was supposed to go, and then he quit. So they put Charles Soule on. I think he might even be solicited as that. So they put Charles Soule on, who's good, and each issue is pretty good.
Yeah.
But basically at the end, he fights everybody, and then I think he just like falls down, and then all this like adamantium goes on him. And now he's just basically like encased in this weird like sad statue of him kneeling down, dying.
Yeah, in a blade, like edge of a building, like rooftop sunset type.
Yeah, it was it's
Blade, or Blade 2.
Right.
Blade 2 all up in here, killing Wolverine.
So they end that, but I think they did that because they're like, we don't have anywhere to go with this guy.
How
We've
sewed
so many stories.
Wolverine, you literally can just put Wolverine in space. He's almost like Hulk. You can put him anywhere. But
that's the best part of Hulk. When you put Hulk in space, that was like the best Hulk.
Right.
Like where that was like, that makes no sense. And you're like, oh. Well, that's what the new Thor movie is. It's Planet Hulk. Yeah. Like it's like they're literally doing Planet Hulk.
Wait, so quick side note: how smart do you think that is? How smart, like that they really made Thor 3 this complete like buddy team up.
I think they're all going to do that. Well, I feel that they're all going to do that in a way. I feel that's what's going to make it work.
That's the only thing in my eyes that I'm excited about for Homecoming, for Spider-Man Homecoming, is that it's like this Tony Stark team up buddy movie.
Because I think that you can kind of pull it up. And I think that's what, when Civil War came out, the biggest crowd pleaser was Ant-Man showing up. Now, like, so their movies don't work necessarily.
Which is funny. Yeah.
And then, like, you should be like, hey, we know that movie that no one really wanted to watch, but then we watched it and it was good. You know what I mean? Like, like the expectation of that concept, like, made it work. So that's the curious part is, like, when Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out, but I think Hawkeye's supposed to be in that. I think he's signed as the extra in that. Yeah, I want to say that's true. It might not be true, but I want to say that's in my head somehow.
Not done with him yet either. Like it's
he's all right. I guess he's steady.
Yeah, but he somehow works because he and I.
Do you think he works because he's human and he's the everyman?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's the thing?
Well, I think I would say a lot of it comes to Josh Whedon for the faults of Age of Ultron. He's so self-aware in Age of Ultron, and you just accept him now being self-aware, fighting the Vision. And
he's like, this is all
Civil
ridiculous.
War. Yeah,
he's like, I'm telling you, this is all. I'm giving you I'm telling you what you're thinking.
Yeah,
so you must accept it.
Yeah,
okay.
Or it's like the best line in Age of Ultron when he's talking to Scarlet Witch, and he's like, there's a guy with a hammer. There's a Hulk out there. There's Captain America. None of this makes any sense.
Right. that could be the best line. I wonder if that's improvised. Like, I wonder if that was like part of that.
None of this makes any sense.
Because I know the part where he runs when he's skipping, that's improvised. He's just kind of like, he's like, okay, I'm just running through here. He does like some weird thing where he's just being like aloof.
Yeah, he's just
and that's improvised. I know that's improvised.
Dude, it's that, in my opinion, like sold that character to where even when he's in Civil War, he's like, oh, we're doing this again. Like,
right. Yeah,
like we're doing this again. Okay, like
it's like, all right.
But
I actually love him in Civil War because he betrays the Vision, like very, you know what I mean? Like when you think, like that's the thing, that's what I think is a surprise with him. Like you don't expect him to pull something off. Like, you know, when he's fighting Iron Man, he's like, oh, you missed. He's like, no, I didn't. Like, you know, there's like, I'm not going to miss.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that he's not Hawkeye from the comics, but he became something different in the movies that I think it does work somehow.
Because
I think they are just going to do doubles because and you know, Thor's going to open up and it's going to be Thor, and Thor I think finds Loki has the help. Basically, Doctor Strange says, "Hey, you can't be here. Right. I'm the protector of all this shit.
Yes,
get off Earth. You shouldn't be here." They're like, "Oh well, my dad's a homeless person. Can you help me find him?" He's like, "Okay, if I help you find him, we get Loki the fuck off this planet." And he's like, "Sure." Yes. That's it. That's the first 20 minutes of Thor, I believe, because that's it. They're always supposed to be on Earth for like 20 minutes, and that's it.
Are they really? Wow.
That's it, and then they're in space.
Oh, jeez.
That's it. Yep. There's no Jane Foster, no nothing. You know what I mean?
So real quick. Sorry, I'm fixing. I gotta fix this on the microphone. And I hate doing this stuff while we're talking. So, do you think? What do you think? Are you gonna take the high or low? High, it happens. Low, it doesn't. Do we get the Silver Surfer in the Plain Hulk segment of Thor 3? No Silver Surfer.
No, but I wonder what happens to his hammer. I think his hammer's gone because the Guardians. No, I'm sorry. The Infinity War production art that was in that weird trailer, non-trailer.
Yes, yeah.
He's carrying like Yarn Bjorn, I think, which is his axe. It's a battle axe.
Okay, so do you think where are we going to find the final Infinity Stone? Are we going to see? Do you think we'll see that before?
I don't know if that'll be in Thor. Maybe they'll just find it. Maybe I don't know.
Because we know it's not in Guardians. Guardians are
doing no Avengers, including
no Avengers,
no
Captain
Marvel, which I think is not. I don't know where they're going to plug her in, though. They got to plug her in somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, but at this point, you just trust it, right?
Like, I think that they prove it.
You trust it so much.
I feel like they have to make their weird Phase 1 movie. Like, that's why I don't want them to do any more Phase 1 movies, because essentially Doctor Strange was Iron Man with magic. And
but I'll tell you, though, but you know what, though? Enough time has elapsed between Iron Man and Doctor Strange. Where
it was still kind of fresh again.
Like,
it was still
right, you can still kind of, like, get it, you know, and you know what too? Like they're drastically different characters. I thought Stephen Strange was more sympathetic early than Tony Stark ever was. Right. Like Tony, it's still hard to like Tony Stark, but they made Strange into. They
humbled him. Yeah. Terribly. I think that was a much better illustration of him struggling, wanting to get better, like, you know, trying to break through and studying.
Norm was saying something about the book. Is the missing? I think Norm was saying the missing book is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That missing Doctor Strange book.
No, that's the Darkhold. I think that's different than that book. The Darkhold's different.
Okay.
That's like the Midnight Suns and all that. That's
is it Midnight Suns?
Yeah, the Dark.
Oh.
Yeah, because Ghost Rider's on it.
I'll tell you one thing though. How kick ass of like the book really sucked, but what an awesome like premise for that book series.
It's so 90s. I kind of like because then they had the Vengeance, so they had like Johnny Blaze came back and he
the purple
had a gun.
Vengeance.
Yeah, but remember Johnny Blaze came back and he had like a mullet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then he had a Hellfire gun, and they didn't take away our Ghost Rider, so they made it Legacy.
Yes.
I don't mind it. I think that's kind of fun. But I remember reading Darkhold. Darkhold was trying to be like Sandman. Like it was like this book didn't make sense. Like I was like, what are they doing? But it was kind of good. Like it ended up kind of being.
So what was that sub? Was that Midnight Suns?
It was Midnight Suns, but I'm trying to think they had that crossover. I'm trying to think what that crossover was, because remember they brought Doctor Strange into that too.
Well, then they had wait. Then wasn't it the street guys? It was like Silver Sable, Cage, Terror Incorporated.
Yeah, Terror. What a weird concept. What was he? He was dead, or he took body parts from people. What the fuck was that guy doing?
I tried reading that book so many times. Wait, was I talking about John Paul Leon? John Paul Leon?
No. Oh shit! It was George Zaffino. I think did the beginning of that.
Okay.
Jorge Zaffino.
But that was like that. You can almost pinpoint the look of that book as Marvel trying to go Vertigo, but then it was also like not too far off from like even the X books adopting. Like who was drawing the X books at one time that had that? It might have been during the Casey run.
It was Sean Phillips.
Was it Sean Phillips?
Yeah, because he brought Sean Phillips from his Wildstorm and brought him over.
Right, okay, yeah. Where it was like,
that's where they did
and then it's just,
Azazel, and they did
that's right. And Chuck Austin. Was that the Chuck Austin?
I think it was it went to Chuck Austin after.
But look, oh my god, what a bad. That was really weird.
Everyone hates that run. And you even had you had Kei Asamiya on that too, which was it was a Japanese artist.
I love the idea for X Corp so much. The X Corp
terrible though.
Being run by Banshee made sense. Being a world power.
Oh, what a terrible book.
Magneto having his own island. You know, like you can't get Asteroid M, you get Genosha.
Right.
Like, man, and then it all.
It's early for us, right?
Yeah. It all.
Usually it's 2 a.m.
It all died. Yeah. So where are you at next with your?
So to cap the end of Logan, so we think Logan's going to be good. We just need to cap it. Like I don't know. To me, because Logan will be unfamiliar to go back to theme. Like it's gonna be unfamiliar to me because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's all kind of unfettered on really where it falls storyline wise. There may be a post credit scene, but X-Men post credit scene don't mean shit. They don't go anywhere. Never. They never line up, so it doesn't matter. This is his last time. I don't need it to be a Deadpool. I don't need it. They don't have to do it. It's okay. You know, it's okay. Like, it's okay.
Well, would you be happy, though, if it was like a post-credit scene that just kind of, like, added to the movie as opposed to leading into something else that most people
how about just end the movie? What happened? Like, you know, like, and I know that's the comic book way. Yeah. Because I mean, most of the books.
It's not the comic book way. This is just something that caught fire and now has become.
Yeah, but it kind of was. If you remember, there was always like 1 or 2 panels, like epilogue, and there would be one or two things.
Yeah, I get.
And then there'd be someone in chat like, "Who's that guy?"
Or sometimes in the previous issue, the next issue would begin with.
It would be the end of the last issue. Right, so that's the way. It's a soap opera. Like it's got to end on a. Yeah. It's got to end on a cliffhanger, and then it starts the next episode with that. You know. But she's pregnant. You know, something like that.
On an argument sense, though. Don't most of the Marvel.
I thought we were going to go back to Stanley.
Yeah.
Show's over. Just last episode.
Just our argument says, wouldn't you agree that Stan Lee is a thieving douchebag?
I thought you were going to go another way with that, but
no. Like argument says, okay. We can just go by him quick. Iron Man, yes, leads to something. Because it reveals the Marvel universe with
Samuel Jackson minute,
as okay,
written by Ryan Michael Bendis.
The Hulk one went nowhere.
Hulk one was a bad that didn't work.
Bad one. Okay. What's Iron Man 2? What was the first sequence for Iron Man 2?
It was Thor, right? Was it? No. I don't remember.
Wait, what's Thor? It was Thor's
Oh,
hammer.
it was Thor's hammer. That's cool.
Okay.
Good one.
That worked.
Thor. The end of Thor, I believe, was Loki in the mirror.
Yes.
Because Loki was the Doctor.
Yes.
That went nowhere.
Okay.
Talking to Doctor Strange.
I thought that was
that goes to Avengers.
Was Avengers. Yeah,
That's
Avengers went nowhere. Okay. So we kind of already have
the end of Avengers is what?
Is Loki as the Doctor talking to Nicolas Cage about the Tesseract, right? or
Nicolas Cage.
Or not Samuel Jackson.
It'd be great if it was Nicolas Cage, though.
But either way, even whatever movie that's attached to, that didn't go nowhere. Loki having possession of that dude went nowhere. They kind of alluded.
Not Avengers.
No,
that's right. Yeah,
they kind of alluded to it a little bit in I think Thor 2, but then he was normal.
Yeah,
he was like he was crazy in Thor 2. That character.
Yeah, he was nuts.
It was just something.
Because he was crazy because his mind was affected by being possessed. However, Hawkeye was perfectly fine.
Yes.
Awesome.
Because he's not.
Because they got to make Thor funny. They got to make it. That's the weird thing that. See, the first Thor I think works with the humor, but the second one just fucking like stalls at the humor. The second one's so poor at humor.
The second one is just kind of like a I don't know how to describe. How would you just how? But you know what it is? That's maybe the worst one because there's so much in Iron Man 2 that I completely like. I treat Iron Man 1 and 2 as one long movie. So like and Ivan recreating the armor to compete with what Tony Stark had created makes perfect sense to me. Mm-hmm. Like it's not just like this like a convenient type villain type. I mean, it just makes sense. So Iron Man 1 and 2.
Every Iron Man villain is Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like it's another Iron Man fighting Iron Man.
Yeah, and even
it's fine.
Even if you go through you're talking like through the
Iron
comics.
Wars, Iron Wars 2.
Yes.
That's what Iron Wars 2
well,
was
even
just
like even like
it was all the same.
Even Whirlwind and Blizzard were all
they're all robots.
They were all suits, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the worst Marvel movie I think is definitely Thor 2. Mm-hmm. People like to put Iron Man 2 and 3 with that, but I love Iron Man 2 and I like Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 is not a Marvel movie though. Or Iron Man 3 is like
it's a Tony Stark adventure
it's a Shane Black Christmas movie.
Yeah, but it also deconstructs
Shane Black Christmas movie.
It also deconstructs Tony Stark though. It strips him down. And you know what it is? It would be the same as if we had like a Batman movie as like a Bruce Wayne adventure.
Which might happen just now.
Maybe. But they could never do that though. They would never do that.
That would be great. If they did that.
Oh wait. What if they did what was that one? Bruce Wayne
Fugitive.
Fugitive, yes. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to say convict, but it was fugitive.
Yeah, because someone frames Bruce Wayne as Bruce Wayne murderer.
Real quick, how much of a golden crossover run was it was Contagion, No Man's Land, Bruce Wayne murderer. Right?
Pretty much from Contagion, No Man's Land, and then it just went for a while, a while. And then Gotham Central happened.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's Fringe, and basically kind of fell apart and got canceled.
Yes.
They basically just kind of ended. We're just going to end it.
Yeah.
And that was very Gotham, the show, for the most part, owes itself.
Yes. Is that
structurally? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in that book, it was more special when it wasn't always that there was a villain. It was always stuff was going on, and then 3 cops got frozen.
Right.
And you're like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Because it would just be a normal book. And then that happened, you're like, oh, I'm very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? This is very uncomfortable.
Dude, that is such a overlooked, forgotten. That's what I mean, dude. So much of comics comes down to Batman. So much. He's the only consistent.
Because he's a Marvel character created by Stan Lee. And Stan Lee was he actually talked to Bob.
Dude,
Bob Kane.
I'm sure Bill Finger right now. It's just
I can't really argue your Bob Kane Bill Finger because that's much more documented, much clearer.
You know why it's documented clearer? Because it was so, and pun intended, it was so much in the shadows that when people got even wind of it, they got pissed.
But isn't it weird that Bob Kane was that smart, so young, that every book that came out, regardless of who drew it, he had his name attached to it? Yeah. I don't understand how that. And I remember when I was reading it when I was like probably right before Batman, everything was just reprints of everything.
Because well, you know what it is though. Sometimes when you have the pipeline to like, if you have the networking and the contacts, and you know who to call, and you want to do that, like you just want to get paid and you want to draw, and because this is better than working at like a factory or like whatever, like it's, and this is better than that. Like you sacrifice that. You say, hey, I'm here just drawing all day. Some of the deadlines get tight, my hands get cramped, and sometimes I'm stressed, but I'm just fucking drawing. Take it, sure, go ahead. Like, right. And I think there's something to that. I think Bob Kane had the avenue, he had the pipeline, and he funneled it. There's nothing wrong with that. I also feel like, some of these guys that we really hold up, guys like Jim Lee, like you look at Homage Studios and Scott Clark, Brett Booth.
Scott Clark died last year.
Yeah, dude, he still has shaded the best shoulder biceps like in comic history.
Better than Dale Keown's biceps.
Dale Keown did more line work. The second shoulder. This goes to show you how deep the geek goes.
You love that cross hatching.
Yeah, the second best shoulder in the bicep was early, not current. Wells Portatio. Wells. He had a knack, like in a couple lines to get that shadowing perfect.
What is that? What was that book? Legion of Night? Do you remember the book?
Yes.
Was it 2-issue?
2 Prestige Format series.
Yes.
Yeah. That came out. There was also a Prestige Format Tomb of Dracula that came out at the same time. That was like a horror comic prestige boom that Marvel was doing for like a year.
Yeah, it was fun.
Dude, the Legion of Night is some serious shit.
And it's scary too.
Yeah.
I remember actually being frightening.
Yeah. I remember that. I think that sold out. The comic shop owner, Rainbow Comics, and I think that's one of the only times when I was younger I stomached going to Tim D. Because Tim D had it, because no one would go there.
No one cared. I remember the one time I went to Tim D. We always went to Tim D under duress.
Why does everyone have I've only been to Tim D once story, but that sucker...
They outlasted almost everyone.
Yeah.
And then now it's gone, right?
Well, he sold it. He broke it off and sold it, basically. Yeah.
I remember Scott. Remember Scott Tim D with the ponytail.
Scott, big influence on me.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree with that.
A lot of the stuff that he told me, I was too young to understand, but he would show me panels of Image Comics and be like, how is this a story? And then he would crack open Watchmen and be like, this is a story. And I'll be like, you're an idiot.
Right.
That's Die Hard punching out Overkill.
Overkill. Yeah. We can't use overkill.
Yeah.
Throw a T in there. We got it. We're not changing anything.
Die Hard, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But dude, man, like my parents loved him. Like we were very close with him, and then he just left, and it was so weird because like we got
there was like no reason to go in there to that point. You'd go in there, you'd be like,
well, Dave Wilson, he was a anime artist, manga artist that worked there for a while, and Dave is an EMT. He used to come in the Hall of Heroes. I used to talk to him all the time.
Oh, okay.
I think he drew a book called Hitami that was published by Viz.
Okay.
So, and he drew all of their like sale signs and stuff, like the signs that they had around.
Oh yeah,
be, like characters and stuff.
Still there.
But dude, I just remember when Scott left MD, and it was like somehow someone told us that he like had the kid now, and all. Dude, I was like, Scott has a kid? Like, how does he have a kid? He's a comic book story guy.
Right,
like,
you can't do that.
Like, how's a comic book story guy being a adult?
But he was cool, man. He was a hippie, man. It was, like, all good.
Dude, my father loved him, though. Yeah. Because he was, like, right on my father.
I remember asking, and it was really weird, because I'm trying to think, what year did Understanding Comics come out? It probably came out when I was maybe 14. And I remember reading about it. And then the day it came out, I was like, can you please take me? And my dad took me.
See, I wasn't on top of it.
But when I remember reading it, that changed my world. Like, that changed my like concept of everything. I was like, this changes. Like, remember I meant this changes everything.
Yeah,
that was what it was like for me. But I remember like Scott, I went out, I looked frantically for it. I'm like, Scott, he's like, I have it right here. Like, and it was like being given like the Bible. Like, this is now you will now understand all of it. I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah. Like, like he. But whenever I think of that book, like I have it, and it's been given to me.
So the one book Scott insisted that I buy, that I bought and bagged and just like stored away that I later got into was Animal Man.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
The Morrison Chaz Trug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which with the Boland covers, which are incredible cover run. He was so into that series. I bought it just because he would say it. I would flip through and be like just panel to panel. You're like, and then once I understood what
bad Vertigo art,
what reading comics was, though, just like the process of reading a stack or just going through it like that, dude. Like Animal Man is probably my top 5, like maybe. Bottom,
yeah, I'd really like
maybe 6, maybe 7. If it was,
I like that probably, and then I'd say if you go like top 5 Morrison, I'd probably go Animal Man. I love his Doom Patrol.
Yeah,
I think Doom Patrol is super fun.
See, like Doom Patrol is just one of those things you would have to take off the list because it's on everyone's top. Like, just like
I think Animal Man's more on the top than Doom Patrol, but
yeah,
I think his Doom Patrol is really fun.
Dude, they're still trying to ape Doom Patrol. That's why
I
Doom
like
Patrol
the new Doom
keeps
Patrol.
coming back.
Yeah, I like the new one that what's his name's doing. Shit.
I know he came back. I'm not familiar with who was working on it.
Gerard Way's
okay.
Yeah, I mean and that's a guy. That's like one of the things that like I think I said this maybe on hashtag episode 10. I think episode 10 I'm always talking about the same thing. But like we talk about Batman, I talk about Gerard Way. But he was in the My Chemical Romance, and then when he did a book called Umbrella Academy, everyone was like, oh, this is like a project they're just giving to him because he's a rock star.
Yeah, no.
And then it came out, and you're like, oh, wow, this is good. Like, you know what I mean? And then like everyone like freaked out like right away. You're like, all right, well, I'm sure the second issue won't be good.
Yeah.
I'm sure the next issue won't be good. I'm sure the next miniseries won't be good. And you're like, oh, shit. And then you're like, when's he coming back? And he makes some albums. Okay, damn. I gotta go make some albums.
Yeah. No, he is. So have you ever? Did you read CM Punk's Drax?
Yeah.
How was that?
It's fun.
Really good.
It's real fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real good. And Scott Hepburn drew it, and that's
Scott. Okay.
And like really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
So,
like
wait,
good.
So real quick. So Scott Hepburn did he do the
He's
Kevin
newer.
Smith? He's not. He did. Who did? No, that's Phil Hester. I'm thinking Phil Hester. Yeah. So Scott Hepburn's newer.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Phil Hester.
You know about that. You know about the Kevin Smith stuff too, right? They're going to do a J. Silent Bob reboot. He was supposed to do Clerks 3, but someone probably the guy who played Randall, the guy who plays Randall.
Why does he make joke movies now? All these movies are like a fucking inside joke.
Because I think he's like he just wants to do whatever he wants to do.
Man.
See, here's the thing. If he makes a movie he wants to make,
filmmaker.
No, I mean it's whatever. I mean, like I couldn't get. I don't think I finished Yoga Hosers. I tried to watch it one night. And I just thought it was so cliche and goofy. Like some stuff I admired about it.
Yeah. Do you how do you listen to his? Like you and I know you and I were going back and forth about Fat Man or Batman.
Yeah, I listen.
But I think that kind of right now I got like how many people can he talk to about the history of
well now
Batman
it's evolved
comics?
that he just talks about like news.
Okay.
And then
and that's I can't listen to it because it's everything's great. Everything's
he grandstands
positive.
everything. Everything's his reviews are so hyperbolic. It's hyperbolic. Like, with no criticism.
Yeah, there's no.
Or he'll go back. Like he originally talked about Batman and Superman. That he really liked it, and then later on he said he didn't like it, and so he just flip flops.
He did the same thing with Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
he was all over Dark Knight Rises, and then he's like, "Well, there are all these plot issues," and then I'm like, "I'm done with you."
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing. Well, I want to say that about actors too, because remember you said Patrick Stewart's always, regardless of anything, he's super supportive, and I would say Ian McKellen's the same way. He's ridiculous. He's like, I'm Magneto, and I'm always Magneto, and I'm doing this, and I like that. Like, I don't like it when. I think Ryan Reynolds made more fun of it, but like you got paid for that job, and I don't like it when Clooney does it about Batman because I think it's kind of shitty, and I'm just like, you know what? You got paid probably more money in your life, on that job,
and also too,
and it was your choice. You said yes,
and also too,
to stand by your mistakes, to stand by.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's. I think it takes a little bit further to where, like, you're hired to do something. You're on set. You say lines. You spend 12 hours getting into a suit or whatever, getting in and out of a suit. You shoot for 3 months. Okay, you may not know what the tone of that movie is until you sit down and watch it. There's probably a few...
I think you would know when you pull out a Batman credit card. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but but here's the thing though. I still
expiration.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, but but I still feel like that was the tone that they knew to go with because of the success of Batman Forever. They wanted to go in a little bit of this
lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, they went into a lighter direction, and this is against Clooney though. Like the point I'm getting at, like you do kind of know, like you know about the tone. You may not know exactly what the movie is when you sit down to watch it, like how it lines up, and and shit gets cut all the time. He might have whipped out the Batman credit card and been like, okay, this is probably going to get cut. I know this is going to get cut. Like, they're going to find a way around this. But at the end of the day, you still don't know what the finished product is. But I'm with you. Like, you took money to do that. You chose to do it. No one put a gun to your head to make Batman.
Right.
And Robin. Yeah. No one put a freaking gun to your head, a-hole. Like, own up to it. And I don't understand that. Who cares? Everyone's in bad movies.
I don't like it when Affleck says he doesn't like Daredevil.
Yeah.
I don't like that either. I just don't like it. I feel like if you did it, it was a choice you made at the time. If it was the best decision you made at the time. If it didn't come out the right way, you go, okay.
He talks bad about Daredevil, never brings up Phantoms.
Affleck, you the bombs of Phantoms, yo. That's the best.
Yeah, right? Like, but it's still like the same point, though. It's like
what's the Christmas movie he's in that's fucking terrible, too? That's terrible with Gandolfini. That's fucking terrible, too.
Oh, Reindeer Games. I think that was a William...
I want to say Reindeer Games was kind of good, though.
Random Gears Games, I think, is with Gary Sinise.
Wow, he's in some... I'm trying to think. There's some movie with him.
I thought Reindeer Games was directed by William Friedkin.
Yeah, there's somebody good that did that. Yeah, I want to say Reindeer Games is good. There's something that he did a Christmas movie that was bad.
Okay.
Reindeer Games is bad? Who knows?
Yeah, Reindeer did... Okay. Oh, no. Directed by John Frankenheimer.
Okay. It's a classic... Difference. Sort of. I mean, it's a classic 70s director.
Yeah, I'm going to... Yes, but I will go to... also directed RoboCop 2, right? John Frankenheimer? And didn't he direct...
the first RoboCop was, Verhoeven?
Yeah. Didn't he also direct Empire Strikes Back?
That's Irvin Kershner.
Oh, Irvin Kershner, right. Okay.
The Kersh.
Right. Thank you for that correction. All right, so let's hit your list real quick. Let's go.
Okay, so we're going to end it. So everything we talked about so far has been other people's materials. Okay?
Yes.
So I want to focus on now their own material. Like you said, why does Kevin Smith make his own material and like it doesn't always work? To me, I almost respect that more. Yeah. So I got 3 things. So I saw Get Out on Sunday.
Yes.
With some friends.
Tell me about that.
I think this is very, very, very culturally important, okay?
Because it is race baiting.
Like it doesn't. Okay, there's a couple audiences in the audience. There's a horror audience.
Yes.
And then there's white people. Yes. And then there's black people. Okay. Each of them is sending a different message to each. Okay. And everything gets uncomfortable at different times for every person, which I think is interesting. And I think socially, it was very... I wish I would have went outside, and I say this about a couple different movies. I wish I would have went outside after this and like, does anyone want to talk about this? And like, just try to get a little group going.
Yeah, okay. So real quick, can we just go through Ben Affleck's movies?
If we have to.
Well, I think you're thinking of Reindeer Games. I'm just going to go... We're going to start with Mallrats. Mallrats, Glory Days, Chasing Amy, Going All the Way, Good Will Hunting, Shakespeare in Love, Phantoms, Armageddon, Dogma, Forces of Nature, 200 Cigarettes,
Forces of Nature,
Bounce, Reindeer Games, Boiler Room, Joseph King of Dreams, he was the voice, Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, Daddy and Them, not familiar with that, Pearl Harbor, Stolen Summer, Changing Lanes, Sum of All Fears, The Third Wheel, Speakeasy, The Battle of Shaker Heights, Daredevil, Geely, Paycheck. Oh, Surviving Christmas.
That's it.
Is that it? We found it? Dude, what is this movie? What is this?
It's terrible.
It's a DreamWorks movie, too. Budget, $45 million. Made only $15 million. Yo, what is... I never seen this.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. Who's the girlfriend? He gets brought home... Not unlike Get Out, where she brings her boyfriend to her wife.
Christina Applegate.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I thought it was going to be Reese Witherspoon. Same thing. She's in Four Christmases, which is also terrible.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Watch that next.
Dude, you blew my freaking mind. With I thought I was on top of it when it came to Affleck.
No.
You brought it.
You're as wrong as you are about Stanley. How about that?
No, that stealing son of a bitch. Don't you get me started.
Okay. So I think that Get Out's going to be a cult classic. I think that it's
I agree.
It's complete love of film.
Yeah.
It's a complete love of horror, number one. Jordan Peele, it's fascinating that this movie exists in a way. And I will go back to my trailer issue with it. There is one scene in the trailer that is not in the movie. That's upsetting because I hate that. I hate that more than anything on earth. There's a part where a deer skeleton attacks him like a dream or something, and that's not in the movie. And I expected that, but at one point in the movie, and it didn't. I was like, oh, that would have been really cool if it happened right there, and it didn't. But every time, to me, like this was it's written and directed by Jordan Peele, who is one half of Key and Peele, the Peele part of it.
Yes.
So, but it's basically Guess Who's Coming to Dinner meets like, and this he said this. It's like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner meets like the Stepford Wives.
And
there's something strange going on.
Hypnotizing people, and they're putting black people into white bodies. And
do you know? Oh, so you know like the thing. Like
I know some of it. Yeah. Yeah. So real quick though, because we talked about this before, and we just came off of a poorly politicized Oscars, like probably the worst Oscars that we've ever seen. Okay. Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But like even by what they were picking and why they were picking them, like so transparent. Okay.
There's two winners. I love the fact that there's two winners at the end. And they're both accepting. It's confusing, and it's like
dude.
what a like clusterfuck. How terrible is Warren Beatty for just like passing the buck? He's like, I don't know what to do with the situation.
No, because you know what it is. I think he gave it to her. Expecting
to like figure it out.
Yeah. And then she looks at it, and if you look at the format of the cards, like the way how Leo announced, what's her name, Emma Stone, the way how if you just envision their cards like a script, like this is what you say, you dumb actor.
Yeah,
like
just say it.
Okay, so Emma Stone, or best actress in the leading role, Emma Stone, La La Land. That's all the people need to know. That's all you guys say, you dumb actor. You dumb idiot. Right. Okay? So how does Faye Dunaway look at that card and see, knowing what the format is based on what Leo just said, how on earth do you read from the bottom up?
Because she's looking for the movie. She's not, because in the format she's looking for the movie. What's the movie?
But it says best actress. But you saw the format with the Moonlight card. Best picture, Moonlight, parentheses, and it lists all the producers.
It's big though.
But these two people have been in Hollywood for a long time. They've seen this stuff.
Yeah, but they're old as shit.
I don't care.
Warren Beatty looks really fucking old, and he looks confused as shit.
Hey, don't you knock Dick Tracy, man. That's
I'm just saying, he was too old for Dick Tracy at that time.
No way. He was perfect age for Dick Tracy.
No way.
Perfect age for Dick Tracy.
For me, like, it would have been better if they did a cartoon. Like, everyone else was cartoonish except him.
You can't do that to the leading man.
That's what Dick Tracy looks like.
Because the villains are corrupted. The villains are the ones that are rotting from the inside, so they have the corrupted faces. This is like Theater 101 here.
We should watch that, dude.
That's a lot of color.
That's a lot of color in that.
So much color in that.
Do you have a t-shirt? Remember they sold the T-shirts as the ticket.
Yeah, it was the silhouette. The silhouette of him.
But then like
they had
score. Yeah, I think they had T-shirts that were the admission. Like you could buy a T-shirt as your ticket, as like for opening night.
What?
That's where they were combining.
I never knew about that.
Yeah, that's where they were combining like because that was post '89, and everything was merchandise.
I would do that now. Like, I think they buy Logan T-shirt, get into the movie. I would do that.
They have weird shit. They do have weird tie-ins and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I forgot about that though.
Yeah,
you're a little bit older than me, so I think
super old.
You would just kind of.
I would know all about it. So I think Get Out's gonna be really important. I really admire.
You're okay being brought to school again?
I don't think it did that. No, it was. I think being
taught what racism is like.
No, because it was different. Well, different because I'm white, but also different because like different things made me uncomfortable. Like that's what I like about it is that this is going to make each person in the room was being uncomfortable at different times. I mean, I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I want to.
But you can watch it flat as like a horror movie, and it's scary. You can watch it as a political satire, and it's interesting and compelling.
Yeah,
and then you can watch it as just like a straight escapism. There's a part where there's a hypnotism scene that is absolutely like that's like Polanski-esque. Like it's super like, and I'm just like holy shit. And I remember saying because I remember like when it happened, I was like, oh fuck! Like something happens, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm excited to see it. I want to see it.
There's a lot of long takes.
I love
my long takes.
Yeah, I love word of mouth hype for movies. Like I think it's one of the only
I think it's doing well.
things.
I'm pretty sure it's doing well.
But I will tell you one thing. I will say this. As soon as I feel like I'm being brought to school in that movie,
walk out.
I am done.
I
am done with this movie.
If our show teaches you anything, is I hate scenes in trailers that are not in movies, and you hate being brought to school and being told anything. I don't think it does. To me, and if it does do it, it doesn't do it it doesn't really do it in that way. It's a very political comment.
I will sit down. I think it's great. I'll go home and I'll watch It Follows and have a boner the entire time.
But see, that's the same thing.
There's no girl in that movie that I want to bang.
Yeah, but that's
that I don't. That would like to bang.
Yeah,
that I do want to bang.
But that's the same writer director, right? Isn't that the same writer director? I think. I don't know. I think so.
I gotta look it up.
Like the thing that I'm going with on this last segment because everything that we're talking about is committee, right? We're talking about a Batman in committee. The new Batman movie can't get off the ground because there's so many people touching it. Instead of leaving it to be like an auteur, like leave it alone.
Are we? Can we just? Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Could David Robert Mitchell
written directed?
Yeah, yep. It Follows.
So that's the point. The point is, I want to say that like even if things don't work, okay. So the second thing, so Get Out, super thumbs up, definite. That's my favorite movie so far this year. I think it's fantastic. I think it's going to hold. The acting is ridiculous. I think it's just great, and it's surprising and surprised again and surprised again, and that's hard. I've seen lots of things, lots. I would give it a B plus only because it didn't have the scene that I wanted in it, and that's my pet peeve. It would have been a flat A, not an A plus, but I give it a flat A, but I give it a B plus. It didn't have that scene.
Yeah.
So the second thing I watched about a week ago, and I might have mentioned this on previous episode.
Hold on. How could you knock a movie's rating for a scene that's not in the movie
because
you want to be in
because
the movie?
Here's what because I think especially a film that so maybe he didn't have final cut on trailers. I don't know where
you can go with this explanation. I don't think it's going to.
I don't think it's going to. I actually believe that I'm not going to convincingly give you a good explanation. No, like
I just saw the look in your face. I just saw the light leave your eye.
No, I guess I can't do that. No, I'm not even going to get on the argument.
I'm just busting your balls. Let's move on. Okay. What else we got?
So the second thing I watched last week was a project that Louis C.K. put together called Horace and Pete, which was a 10-episode series he put out completely by himself. He financed it himself. He sold it.
I love hearing about
on LouisCK.com. I think to people. Now I think it's on Netflix. Now this show is not funny. It's a bar. It's 2 sets. It looks like a stage play. It's 2 sets, mostly long takes, and
what's it called again?
Horace and Pete. And he's Horace, and he's Horace the second or third. I think he's Horace the second, and Pete, who's on the show, is Steve Buscemi.
Oh.
But he's the second Pete. He's the nephew of the other Pete. And this bar's been around for 100 years in Brooklyn, and it's always been owned by Horace and Pete. Now, the bar doesn't make money, and Horace dies. Louis C.K.'s dad dies, but you don't see that. And his sister is Edie Falco, who comes in, and she says, well, we're going to shut the bar down, or we're going to sell the bar because this Brooklyn real estate's worth millions, and I want that. We'll split it up. So that becomes a little bit of the argument. But more than that, the episodes kind of move around because it goes into. I think any conversation that Louis C.K. wanted to have, he put in different people's mouths because he wrote the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It looks like it's on Hulu, not Netflix.
Okay. Asterisks.
Yeah. No. So I just wanted to in case somebody wanted to watch it.
Yeah. So the thing I find completely fascinating about it is that not everything works. A lot of things don't work hardly at all. A lot of things extremely frustrating. Alan Alda plays a very racist, sexist bartender, old man, senile, yelling at everyone.
I like him already.
Buscemi is brilliant. Buscemi is absolutely fantastic in it. And Edie Falco surprises me on how like compelling she is.
Yeah, isn't she always?
She's always great, but I feel like I don't. She's so good in this. And there was a part where she says something, and then Louis C.K. says something in the back of her very fast, and it blows over. But what he said like shut you down. Like it like she's like, look, this is it. He says something and it fucks you up.
Oh, I love it.
I was like, holy shit! And they just moved past it, and I was like, I can't even. I almost had to stop the show. I was like, I got to stop the show for a couple minutes now. And every episode ranges. One will be an hour, one will be 38 minutes, the next one will be like an hour and 10 minutes. Like it does whatever it wants.
Yeah.
So I find that fascinating. It does whatever it feels it needs to do. It has a definite journey. It doesn't have the best ending. But there is one specific scene. I think the scene's on YouTube. If you just watch this scene alone.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he is in the bar. He talks to this girl. He's just like kind of flirting with her. They go upstairs.
And this is not comedy. This is like
not really. No, there's bits and pieces of stuff.
Is it some? No,
not really. Like I don't even know what to call it. It's just to me it's just fascinating. Yeah. But I couldn't stop watching it. But I was not having a good time. Like I was watching. Like I'm not having. But I can't. I am very compelled to it. So there's if you pull up, I would say pull up Horace and Pete and put up like transsexual. So there's a part where he meets a girl in his bar, makes some jokes. He's like, well, who's this? Is that you? He's like, well, that's my dad. And on this, you know, that was my grandfather up there. And like on the, he's like, oh, this is your bar, yeah. He's like, I have a room upstairs. So then it kind of cuts to the next day. He comes out, starts making eggs, and then the girl comes out. They start talking, and he makes some joke about like maybe being with someone who he says something about transgender. He starts talking about it.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, she's like, and she had her face structure looks like she looks a little manly. She's like, well, what if I was like, maybe I am. And he's like, well, then you'd be obligated to tell me. And they have this very deep 5-minute conversation, and you're doubting both sides and you're seeing both sides, and you're just like, oh my God, I have no idea about the social. I have no idea how I'm supposed to feel with this. This is a new topic. And the few times this happens with some people in the bar about race or about Trump or about like it goes everywhere. And it's like every conversation that I think that might be a topic in like Louis C.K.'s head, and he just puts in all these people. Yeah. Like a little nuance. It's like, you know, and it goes back to that. And I was like, wow, this completely fucking works. Like,
that's cool. Yeah.
But when it fails, when it fails, it doesn't matter, because I just admire the altruism of that. Right. Like I think that's really fun.
It's him. It's his product. It's
done that's his Jordan way. Peele, Louis C.K., and then like the third one before we go into another direction.
How long? The episodes I saw looked like some of them were like 8 minutes.
Nah, it's probably little clips. The first one's at least an hour. The second one, then they all go from like 38 minutes. So maybe they're showing little clips.
Maybe that's. Hold up. Let me just make. Maybe that's what.
But I would say if you see that there's the trailer is on line, don't watch the trailer.
Okay.
Because they kind of.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I saw this wrong. Episode 1 is 1 hour 8 minutes. Wow, these are long. 51 minutes, 44 minutes. Then it's 30 minutes, 30 minutes.
It's whatever it wants to do.
Wow. Okay, that's a cool.
Yeah,
that's
it's interesting because I think that it's whatever he feels.
Yeah.
It's a totally different model. It had no score. It had some episodes, if they were long, they would have an intermission, as if it was a stage play. It'd say intermission. Yeah. And there was one song, and it's Paul Simon's song, where he just created this little song saying Horace and Pete, and they focus on the painting, and that's it.
So it's actually a full. I guess I hate that it's somewhat of a full real season. It's 10 episodes.
10 episodes, yeah.
10. So that's it's a cable. It's
sort of like, it's the model of
like how do you even subscribe? Like how you?
I don't know how we originally put it. Like I know now it's on Hulu. Like at the time,
it's
when
awesome
it first came out, you just paid it from him. Like you just had to pay him.
So how did you watch it?
I watched it on some streaming site that I probably should not have. You know what I mean? I watched it on I illegally was watching it.
Yeah, you're the reason why my ticket price and my popcorn is so expensive.
That's right.
When I go to the theater.
That's right. So the third thing, just to wrap it up with comics, so that's movie, comedy, like all the things we kind of like, you know what I mean? So horror, a comedy that wasn't a comedy. So comics this week, last week, a book from Gabriel Hardman came out, and he does a book called Invisible Republic. He used to work on Secret Avengers, really good comic book artist.
What's that, Invincible Republic?
No, Invisible Republic.
Invisible Republic.
Yeah, it's like a futuristic reporter. It's written by his wife, Karina Becko, and Gabriel Hardman draws it, but it's science fiction, and then he needed like a breather.
Okay.
So he did a book called Belfry this week, which was just this like there was like a harpy. It was like this it was a horror comic book.
Cool.
And it was a one shot, and it was scary. And at the end, he writes about he's like, I needed to do this to like cleanse my palate. I was doing too much of this, and I wanted to do this. So it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it like floored me. It was like really fun, but it was like it was like 100% him. And like I don't know if he lettered it himself, but like it was just messy, and it didn't really work in places. But I liked that. Like I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, there's always a rawness that I love. Like when things are kind of messy and raw, and
so I just think that these were the three things. Like as much as I love, the funny thing is like the first things we wanted to talk about. The first things what I wrote down, I was like, I need to talk about like familiar things, like everything I know about King Kong. I know about Batman. We're gonna talk about Batman at least once. Star Wars is gonna come up 5 or 6 times. Trailers are going to come up.
Yeah, actually, but Star Wars has not come up
a little bit. It always comes up a little bit. But the I do have that, so we can end on that. But back to like the closing of that is as much as I love, like the familiar, like the unfamiliar will just like cleanse my palate. So like seeing those things, like seeing Get Out, I'm like, oh wow, okay.
So like, does what's his name? Does Valerian, the City of 1,000 Planets, does that have?
No, that's going to be a John Carter. Like it's going to be because so many things. So John Carter didn't work.
2.0.
Well, he wanted to make Valerian and couldn't, so he took stuff from Valerian and made that.
Well, I remember,
and Metabarons, and he stole from tons of shit.
Yeah, I remember.
And Dune, like he took Jodorowsky's concept. He hired Jodorowsky.
Yeah. Well, so, I remember when I've read like an article that he was a part of when Fifth Element was coming out, and he said there was a comic that he was obsessed with when he was in school, and he wrote his own ideas based on this comic.
Right.
And part of that became like Fifth Element.
Yeah, but you look at Valerian comic books, and they don't look anywhere. They don't look right. They're not our books. They're not our thing. It's like sometimes when you look at like
it's French, whatever it looks
right. But sometimes when you look at some some manga or anime, like it doesn't. Sometimes it works for you, and sometimes I'm like, this isn't my culture. It doesn't work.
I still don't understand. Norman and I think we're discussing this. Norman and I were discussing that. I still don't understand Ghost in the Shell, the anime, or the comic.
Yeah.
I can't follow the story. I can never.
I don't think it matters. To me, it was all just visual.
I can never get engaged, but it's barely enough for me. Like there's some anime are so poorly dubbed and translated, like horrible. Like Vampire Hunter D, Wicked City, the list goes on. Fist of the North Star, horrible. I could follow them though. I fucking know what's happened. Ghost in the Shell, I could never do it. Never do it.
No, I agree with that. I think that's fine.
I'm hoping the movie does it, so I can know finally.
So someone can tell me. Maybe they'll clean it all up.
I could I could just be like, oh
yeah. Make A on Flux again. Yeah, would make it good. So the other thing, to talk about Star Wars, we love it. So,
do you want to wrap it up with Star Wars?
We'll do Star Wars, and then we'll have Memorial. We'll do Star Wars Memorial. Star Wars and Memorial.
Don't upset me. We can do a whole episode on him. Like to be honest.
Okay.
Like, but no, we'll do Memorial though.
Yeah,
because there's movies that a-holes are not talking about that dude was in.
Right.
Okay. So let's tell me about. So lay the force on me.
All right. So the rumor. So we got Star Wars episode The Last Jedi episode 8 coming out Christmas. Star Wars should own Christmas essentially, in my opinion. Now, like it seems that it makes so much money.
Yes.
And it's consistent. People are off. They go see Star Wars again, and then again and again. And actually, I'm a little upset. I didn't see Rogue One more. I only saw it twice, which is shocking.
Yeah. I saw it twice. I was happy with it.
Yeah. So Han Solo's filming now. However, there was a set pic that came out this week, and not everyone looks ready just yet. And I didn't love his hair. I don't love Han Solo.
Well, yeah, I was going to say I think there was already
terrible, but I don't think it's ready yet. But the thing is, if it's filming now, that's supposed to come out in a year. That's supposed to come out in May, which is interesting to me. Now, 2019 is episode 9, so there's nothing next Christmas, and that's weird to me. I don't think that can be true. So the other factor that we had.
Shooting and getting a movie together in 1 year on the scope of what Han Solo would be.
It seems weird. It seems like they should be Christmas next year. Should be Han Solo.
It should be, yes.
but I think they're now going to Marvel. They're going to Marvelize Star Wars. I believe that, and they kind of talked about this before when they were talking about all having like the solo movie, like not the solo movie, but when they were going to Trank it, when Trank was going to do Fett. Remember, there was Celebration.
Yes.
They were supposed to have. Trank was supposed to go, and supposedly he was doing Boba Fett.
Yeah,
and that did not happen.
Come on, man.
And then Rogue One had a trailer of sorts. Remember, there was there was a concept trailer, which I don't think we've ever seen. There was a concept.
No, it was. But you saw, I think, in that trailer was the beach stuff and the Death. Yeah, I did see that.
I don't think I saw that.
I saw it. Yeah, I think it's the beach. You see the Death Star in the background. You see TIE fighters. Like, that's what I remember.
Yeah, I don't know if that ever came out. I don't know.
I don't know. I remember seeing it. I'll try and dig it up.
But I just feel that like they don't have something in the pipeline, or maybe they do, or maybe they're keeping it quiet. I think Celebration's in a couple weeks, I think. So I just wonder. I wonder if there's going to be like next Christmas is a surprise Star Wars movie, like, you know, because they had to announce Episode 8, 9. You know, they had to announce that. That's the key. So I just wonder what the next like quote unquote Star Wars story is going to be. Are they going to do a Yoda? Or are they going to do? They kind of said.
We'll have it coming up here in a couple seconds.
So they kind of said.
We're watching.
That's right.
The Rogue One concept.
It's like a reaction thing with that.
Yeah, and see the.
Oh yeah, okay.
The shadow right here. Yeah. Oh,
it's very brilliant, dude. Now we're watching a guy talk
Oh,
about
I'm not sure. We just
Way
skipped.
to go.
We just skipped the video.
So I'm just kind of wondering what they're going, if they're going to do anything. I feel that there's way enough Star Wars, because that's what I really liked about Rogue One, is the stuff like that, stories of where they were going with it, and having like the Guardians of the Wills, and having like little things like that. I'm like, oh, this is great concept.
It's kind of and even just the planet being where the crystals came from, and then they basically
do stuff like that,
they
man.
basically strip mine the planet and then blow it up, so there's like no more crystals. Also,
right?
Like kind of like, I don't understand, but you know, because they do it second Death Star. Like, there's things with that. Just curious.
That's what powers it. Yeah, that's so the Kyber powers the powers that.
It's also the lightsaber. Yeah.
Right.
So so like this is another right here. So here we go.
It's so bootleg though.
Yeah. So and whatever.
It's
like
wrong. Rouge.
Yeah.
Star Wars Rouge.
Rogu 1.
That's why you can't find it.
Yeah. So and then we are. Are you like, so? Where are you with the Last Jedi stuff?
I'm just waiting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, I'm totally fine. Like, waiting. I don't have a whole lot of speculation. I don't really care.
There's so much energy keeping up with Star Wars.
Yeah,
like that's where
I'm just kind of letting it be now, because I think I gave so much energy, and I remember talking to someone. I was like, "You're seeing, you know, someone I know." And I was like, "You have to be seeing Rogue One next Friday." She's like, "No, I'm okay." And I'm like, "Really?" Because we were like. And it was like, that's you. You should do that. Like, how are you not doing that? I'm doing it. You know. And they're like, how are you not doing that? You're a fan like me. Like, we should know. And it was like, well, I'll see when I see it. I'm like, really? Like, so to me, I feel like so much energy came to like, we have to see it in the beginning. I feel that's all different.
Well,
do you know Cinemark's all ripped up? Did you know about this? Or you're not in Jersey?
Wait,
but
Cinemark was
they're making they half the theaters are closed, but they're making like the seats everything's assigned. So you wouldn't even believe after Get Out, like me by two, like we were like bothering the box office girl to no end. I was like, well, we need a row, but which theater is it going to be in? Is that a flat theater or is that a slope theater? Like, we were the worst.
Yeah,
we were the fucking worst. We're like, but I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be particular, and when you say I'm not trying to be particular, guess what? It means you're a fucking dick. Like, you're a dickhead.
Well,
she's like, oh, I know what you're trying. I know, but see, half the theaters are still closed, and I'm like, I know, but like we need to buy these consecutive, and can we buy? And they were just like, they're like, please fucking leave. They probably canceled our tickets. They're probably like, those tickets don't work anymore. We walk out like, no, I was here.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to coordinate seeing Logan with Norm, so we could do our post Logan show,
full post note.
Yeah, and every time I checked Cinemark for times, it looked like it was only on one screen.
It is only on one screen. They only have like 4 screens open.
And then I'm like, okay, maybe it just hasn't updated yet, but that explains it. I couldn't understand.
Yeah, there's only one screen. There's 4 showings on Friday. That's it. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Now, like, I mean, every other theater is going to have it on 100 screens, but they're super construction. And I went to 16, which is the curved screen.
Yeah.
That's where Get Out was, and the sound was great. The sound was really good in that theater.
I'm so sick scary. Of like you can't just go and.
But I feel like there's way less seats.
Yeah.
So that's confusing, and I feel like there's too much room, and the recliners. Oh, I'm such a pain in the ass, aren't I? I'm such a fucking bitch.
No, I don't like the idea.
They don't fully recline.
I don't like the idea that you have to be comfortable to watch a movie.
I feel like I'll go sleep.
I just
because I get a lot of sugar and then I'm all sugared up and I fall asleep.
It's the same as like if you go to like this. Look, if people want to argue that movies are art, right? Movies are art. Like good ones, bad ones. ART.
Good expression.
Okay, right. ART. Independence Day. Art.
Like the notes. Okay.
Zack Snyder. Artist. Okay? But here's the thing. If you go to an opera, you go to a symphony, you go to any stage on Broadway, on or off. You go see the Fantastics off of Broadway. You go see Lion King on Broadway. Okay, you are not comfortable. When you're not comfortable, you focus and pay attention to the content in front of you on such a higher level. Okay, when you are comfortable, it's the same as like, why don't they just have like wheeling like chairs in museums and you can just zip yourself around in a nice comfortable chair and go look at paintings.
There's usually no chairs in museums.
Because there's like a stress to that. There is a revelation through stress. We were talking about this earlier where like the body reacts from stress. You absorb things differently when it's stressed in a way. And you know what? Who the hell cares? Like, sit down and watch the freaking like play. Watch the opera. Watch the movie. Stand. Your ass hurts. Your ankles hurt, or whatever. Probably not true. Like because people shouldn't really be overweight, except for the few that the 0.1 percentile, the 1.111 point percentile that have a medical condition. But normally you can stand and walk through a museum. I don't freaking care. Like do that. That's a part of the process. I'm beginning to loathe the idea of overly comfortable theater seating. Period.
Right.
Period. Like I'm done with it. Done with it.
I think they're reverse engineering it because I think everyone's so used to their home theater and they're like, what's the point of me going? So they're trying to combine two different things, Like I don't like it that I know a lot of my friends will do streaming and they'll stream like what just came out. And they're like, oh, I just saw blank on this streaming site. And I was like, you should see that in the movie theater because that's cool in the movie theater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I will tell you one thing. I don't subscribe. I don't do any illegal. I don't like anything. There's nothing. It's been like this. I had one run where back when I had my BlackBerry Pearl. You can look up how old that device is. BlackBerry Pearl. I downloaded music for that one night, one time, and actually that's where I discovered David Bowie and rediscovered Iron Maiden. And that was it. Up until that point, like I paid for it because like I know what it does. But I'll just say that, no big deal. But anyway, so Star Wars and Bill Paxton. Let's talk about Bill.
Bill Paxton. So the first thing that was funny when someone texted me that Bill Paxton died, and then the first thing that popped into my head was that he directed the Fish Heads video in 1980.
Oh.
And I pulled that up right away and I threw that on Facebook and I was like,
nice. I wasn't even familiar with that.
Yeah, he co-starred in it, and it was on Saturday Night Live once.
Wow.
Like they actually had it up on there. It was as listed as a short film. He's in it. He was a production manager for Roger Corman and created like costumes and things. And Roger Corman kept throwing him in movies. And then James Cameron worked for Roger Corman, and that's how they hooked up. And he was his good luck charm. He was in Terminator. He's a punk in Terminator with blue hair.
Yeah.
Then he was in Aliens, his best role, and the ad-lib is his ad-lib there is Game Over. That's the most famous line of his. And it's weird because if you look at him, like he became handsome older, like when he was Big Love.
He aged very well.
Yeah, but he looked really like he was just a grungy look, like a really grungy looking guy through most of his career.
Not handsome in Weird Science.
No, he's terrible. Like I mean, that was what I put. I put Chet, and then I put Hudson. And then I put like a Bill from Big Love because I thought Big Love was pretty. That was like good, strong, early, long form HBO before HBO really knew what was going on.
Yeah, and Yeah, never liked how they wrapped up that show.
I don't remember how it wrapped up. I just remember how it started. I remember that really good episode.
He gets killed, and then they like the wives are together type thing. And they had him ascending. Looked like he was like
Jesus
going to get into the White House at one point or become like ascended. Like that show has so much potential. Like
I only really remember the first season.
Like to what he was about to do. But here's a couple roles people forget about him. Apollo 13, True Lies. Okay,
True Lies is super
Predator
fun.
2. Stephen Hopkins, director.
He's the connection.
Dude, he's the only guy to fight Aliens, Terminator, and
Predator,
and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Like,
what was it? What was his deal in True Lies? He was the
car salesman,
but he was acting like he was a secret agent, but he was not a secret agent.
Yeah. So when they thought he was, and then they mic'd him. No, they mic'd the wife. They put the thing in, okay. And then,
that's right.
And then as soon as this guy starts talking, they're like, "Yo, like he's running an act. Like he's because like they kind of like they can smell their own or whatever. Like,
well, what else is on your packs?
Near Dark.
Yeah, I have Near Dark on mine. Yep.
Simple Plan with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, it's really quiet. Scott Frank written, directed. He was mainly a screenwriter.
And then I'm just trying
Dark Backwards in there. That's a weird one. Who directed The Dark Backward?
I'm trying.
Catherine Bigelow?
I believe so. I thought she did Near Dark.
No, she did. That's right. She did Near Dark, but The Dark Backward, it's Judd Nelson. Tim and Judd Nelson in it. Really weird movie.
Dude, hold up. I just pulled up his stuff. He did you know he was in Commando?
No, another
as an intercept officer.
He's like wherever Schwarzenegger goes or was. I'm just gonna be around him.
He fought Schwarzenegger twice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Oh, dude, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, he's real quiet in that. He's like he's like a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
And then he was just on that show, the new Training Day television show.
Yeah, which is in the
same universe,
a bunch of episodes.
But they're not doing. Well, the first season's completely shot. I think it's all done.
Okay.
So I guess no second season. Maybe they won't even renew it. Yeah. I don't know because he's a bit of the draw.
Horrible. And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. I guess overlooked. Tombstone.
I don't. Do you think it gets overlooked? I think it gets kind of cold. Well, there's so many people in that.
Everyone is. Russell and Val Kilmer in that.
Right.
Everybody, hello, like Tombstone's an awesome movie. Like he kind of gets overlooked. Navy SEALs.
Ooh, Navy SEALs. I think that everyone is just. I think that he's just just kind of a seminal. He wasn't exactly like. When Philip Seymour Hoffman died, Philip Seymour Hoffman was much more colorful in his like all the little stuff that he would do, all his weird character shit. I think he was just more of a straight character actor. I think Buscemi's kind of the same thing. That was the thing when Buscemi was on Horace and Pete. There was a couple of things. I know Buscemi did some more starring work when he was in Boardwalk Empire, but none of that worked for me. Boardwalk Empire doesn't work for me. I'm like,
no, I was done with that. That's kind of like even why I'm kind of done with Game of Thrones and why. Like I'm curious about it, but I kind of still don't even care about Westworld because to me the HBO format is a dick shot, show tits, show fucking, a betrayal, a sudden random death, and enemies become alliance. Okay,
yeah.
And then they discover that with the Sopranos.
Watch, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, they discover that with Sopranos, and they're like, how many different ways can we? All right, let's add it to a period thing. Boardwalk Empire. Let's add it to fantasy. Game of Thrones. Let's add it to science fiction. Westworld. They're like out of options now. Like I don't know what else you can add it to. Okay.
You're out of all genres.
Yeah. So real quick, one of the this is an awesome movie that they people forget. It's called Trespass. You remember this movie, 1992?
A little bit. Is that that's where everyone? Is that Ice-T in that?
Ice-T's in that, yes.
Who is he in that? Is he like? It was him. It was Estevez. Give me the rundown of actors. The amazing. I know that this is like a mishmash cast. Like I know that.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies where it has like a super cast.
Bill Paxton. I'm just building it off of IMDb.
Straight. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He's the first. Who's top billed?
Okay. Bill Paxton. Ice-T. Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Two ices.
Let me see here.
No Kiefer in that? No. I'm trying to. There's somebody in it that like.
Yeah, I thought Emilio Estevez was in it.
Right.
Wow.
Is that a different movie?
Yes. Yeah. You're wait. You're thinking of. Yeah, where they're like going on the bachelor party or something. Yeah.
Okay, that movie. That's what I think Trespass is.
No, that's not. Wait. Hold up. I know what you're thinking of.
We're gonna try to old school it and not look it up. You're on the computer. You're on it, but don't look it up. Let's go. Trespass. What the? No, you're saying
Dennis Leary's in the movie. But Dennis Leary's the villain.
Oh, that's okay.
That's the one you're thinking. Dennis Leary.
That's right.
Emilio Estevez.
Ice-T, I think, is also in that.
I think he just walked across the street into another lot by accident. I don't know. He probably didn't even get paid.
That's a super cast. All right, I'm looking that one up. That's a super cast. So wait, you just told me that you really love Trespass. I can't think of what that movie is at all.
No, actually, I just read the description. I totally take this back. Find out that
you're thinking of the movie that I'm thinking of.
What is that? Emilio
You're thinking of that Emilio Estevez.
Dude, you know who wrote this movie? Dude,
James Gunn.
Wait, dude, look at Trespass. Okay, written by Bob Gale, Robert Zemeckis.
Oh.
Directed by Walter Hill.
What the hell?
Yo.
Why do we not love that movie?
Watching next? I have to watch Trespass now. Whoa.
Right, let's see here. No, all right, so I'm on Emilio Estevez. God, he did hardly anything. What the heck is that? That's right around...
Hold up.
Mission Impossible, uncredited, Mighty Ducks 3. It's got to be right around here. Judgment Night. That's what we're thinking
Judgment Night.
That's what we're doing. 6.6. Ready? Here's the rundown.
Dude, they came out 1 year apart.
I feel it's
Stephen Hopkins directed. Predator 2 director. And Lost in Space director.
You love Stephen Hopkins. No one is talking about Stephen Hopkins.
Blown Away director. He's also a comic book artist. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. All right, Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Dennis Leary, Stephen Dorff, Jeremy Piven.
Yo.
Peter Green, who is in The Mask. He's like the villain in The Mask. He's if you saw him, you would know him.
Yeah.
All right, then I think it gets into all these nobodies. Right, but that's pretty good. Dude, look at that. I mean, that was a super cast. You had Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Dennis Leary, Stephen Dorff, Jeremy Piven. I mean, that's a...
Dude.
So what? So are we just combining these movies? Is this movie you were thinking of?
I think we did, but I want to watch Trespass now, dude. And I love Walter Hill. I can't believe I'm just not familiar with Trespass. That could be like the final piece of my Walter Hill crown.
Walter Hill's... I mean, here's another... Walter Hill might be taking you to school soon. Do you know what the new movie he's doing called The Assignment? You know about that movie?
Tell me about that.
I believe if that's... So that was a screenplay that he really liked. I think he produced or even co-wrote. Michelle Rodriguez is in it, and there's a guy who's a hitman, and he killed the wrong guy. So what they do is they kidnap him. Sigourney Weaver kidnaps him and cuts his penis off, turns him into a girl.
What?
It's a real... It sounds like I'm making this up.
Yeah.
I'm not making it up.
Are you making this up just for clickbait?
No, so I mean, remember it's almost like in the 50s when like the guy's like, I have to change my face because because they all know it's me, but they did that, but instead with this one they turned him into a girl.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, it's me, Frank. She's on the phone.
Dude,
Michelle Rodriguez.
Look this up.
It's coming out soon. It's called The Assignment.
I want to check it.
But it's like a double thing. It's The Assignment, but The Assignment is really the assignment. Like I'm assigning myself from a female.
And real quick,
so you should hate it.
Stephen Hopkins is credited just off of his Wikipedia as a art and design guy, and had a storyboard and commercial background. I remember reading at one time that he did comic books or foreign comic books at one time.
Back to Gabriel Hardman comic book. He storyboarded Dark Knight and Spider-Man 2, and was Gabriel Gecko, who drew what 90s comic? That was his pen name.
Oh, Gecko.
He only did like one book for a couple issues, and that was it.
You have to tell me.
War Machine.
Oh.
And the first issue cover was pretty great. Like, I mean,
wait, not the Max War Machine.
No, one
not
before
the one that was
like in
poser
the early
one.
90s. Like when everything had a double, when you had like Spirits of Vengeance, you had Ghost Rider and Spirits of Vengeance.
Wait, and War Machine had a 90s solo series?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, It was like the black on black. No, it was black cover, chromium, chrome, embossed.
Yeah, and that was Gabriel Hartman back then. But then his style went and did storyboards for tons of stuff. Not Man of Steel, Superman Returns. He did storyboards for just a ridiculous amount.
Very nice.
He's really good storytelling. That's what I thought. Belfry this week was like panel to panel. It was just exciting and scary. Like there was just like this harpy witch that was chasing everyone. It was bloody and messy and scary, and I was like, I love this. This is nuts.
Oh,
but I didn't realize it was just a one shot. When I got to the end, I'm like, oh no, like this is. I would have liked this, but then I'm like, where the hell would it go? Like I was like, and then the back is like, I just needed like a breather. Like I kind of like that when they just do something else. There's a movie that I think Tartakovsky did in between Hotel Transylvania 1 and 2, which are not very good movies, but they look cool and they have really fast jokes.
Yeah,
he's the guy to Samurai Jack. Jack coming back in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he also did the Clone Wars,
the better one.
The I guess the cell or the animated looking short. Yeah, the 2D. Yeah, the 2D shorts, which were phenomenal.
Yeah, there's hardly any words in it, and just it's almost like it's a graduation of style of him coming from Samurai Jack. I think Samurai Jack towards the end kind of just like faltered a little bit, but I really like Samurai Jack. Especially the first 3 episodes I think are fucking brilliant.
That was like almost like an animation TV boom, where you kind of had the Warner, like it was all Warner, right? It was all Warner Brothers, like syndicated animation, and then it was Cartoon Network.
It wasn't Adult Swim yet. That's right. It was Cartoon Network.
Yeah. You know, and then like you really went you went from like the Batman era cartoons into Cartoon Network, and you had everything. You had like High and Low. You had like Powerpuff Girls.
You had really smart people. Yeah, because Tartakovsky did Dexter Lab.
Yeah,
helped co-create. I think Craig McCracken did Powerpuff Girls.
Yes,
but he helped.
It was just like it was just a fucking. Like, my God, dude.
Yeah, I didn't like Doug. Was Doug around there, too? A lot of people like that.
Like, the Nicktoons were Cat Dog, and then on the other side, you did have Nickelodeon and Durboom, but Durboom was kind of like...
more juveniles, Rugrats.
Like, yeah, and it was dying off, and then once SpongeBob became SpongeBob, it destroyed Nickelodeon animation. Right. Because it just became, like SpongeBob, I still think is going. Like I don't know how many seasons SpongeBob is.
Simpsons is still going. It's like I guess you know what I mean. Like I'm fine.
I don't know how people still watch Simpsons. I mean,
what I think is funny is I think Simpsons is expensive, or at least it was. But I remember like as comparison, because I think when South Park came out, they're like, you know how cheap it is to make a South Park episode. Like it's like we made
and they make them in like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, did you ever watch that documentary? It's fascinating.
Yeah, dude. What I love it how he describes why he builds Legos and eats McDonald's because he's so stressed that just McDonald's makes him happy.
Right.
Okay, right. And then he has no control over anything other than the Lego sets that he makes. But it's such an understanding.
It's a very good documentary.
Yeah, but watch that again. It is, but it's such a sharp understanding of one's psychology, and a little bit we were talking about earlier about like what your own triggers are, and how you do control your mood. You control like everything about yourself, off of triggers. But hey, look, guess what? We are. Let me jump.
Do we get to the 4?
No, we're not to the 4. We are 3 minutes and 7 minutes. 3 hours and 7 minutes.
3 minutes and 7 minutes.
Yeah, 7. Well,
that's a short one.
Yeah, this is our shorter one, but we will let's sign off. We went on a hell of a journey.
It's a good one. This was probably our most
concise, targeted.
Yeah, and I wrote it as we ate cheesesteaks.
Yeah,
I wrote it. And,
you rockstar. You hit me up in the 0 hour. I was Dude,
we weren't doing it, and I was like,
No.
like at 4 o'clock, I'm like, I can't do this tonight. No fucking
Yeah,
way.
well, we kind of left it tentative, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we left it tentative. I believe it or not, I was like putzing around in one of my offices, trying to finalize something, not really having luck, and it was like almost like 6 o'clock, and I was like, well, I'll have like a later gym session,
Yeah.
and I was going to do that and come back here and then edit Bad Eats, the YouTube show, and get ahead of that, and then you hit me up, and I literally had I only had like a few minutes to make my way over here and start to set things up. So
Hashtag we'll podcast for cheesesteaks.
yeah, we'll podcast for cheesesteak.
That's my fee.
Did you want to talk about your Tumblr and tell us?
Oh, my plugs. Yeah, my plugs.
Tell us about your Tumblrs.
Yeah, I haven't been that busy on them, but yeah. So
Okay.
I have just Pocket Rabbit on Tumblr, or Idiosyncratic Pulp, which is my. I did do a Saturday where I did nothing but Patsy Walker strips, which was pretty
Nice.
fun.
And people can find you on Facebook, Marc Leone.
Yeah,
L-E-O-N-E.
Yeah, if you want to.
L-E-O-N-E.
I don't have too much on there. I'm close to deleting everything.
Yeah, but maybe
And then I start over again.
maybe they can.
Like Phoenix from the ashes.
Right, and then they one of my friends just deleted everything, and he's like,
He has so much more to do.
He's like,
he has a
he's
lot.
like,
He can
but
produce
no,
a lot.
but today he's like, I think that was a mistake. It's been like 2
How do I
days.
reactivate this?
It's
I don't
been
know.
like 2 days. I'm just
do I
like,
know?
relax. But no, awesome episode, dude. I think the trespass revelation is worthy of.
I love that.
of
That's
all
our
the-
ending. We're just like, wait, is that the right movie? You're like, this movie's forgotten. I'm like, yeah, it's forgotten because no one remembers it, and you think it's a different movie.
Yeah, Judgment Night is a solid movie.
Right, but that's not. We
No,
were on the Bill
I don't
Paxton
care.
Rest in Peace.
Judgment Night's a
and
solid
you're like,
movie.
and I'm like, Ice-T. You're like, no, Ice-T is not in it. No, Ice-T's in this one.
Dude, Steven,
Ice Cube is in. Maybe we need to have a double feature. We need to watch those and like just.
Dude, what happens if we watch them both, and they're literally the same movie, just with different like actors? There's a couple things little like they're almost like dueling movies, like like Deep Impact.
That's
and
what I know you're gonna go with. That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Your Deep Impact Armageddon argument. Like, well, they're both good. They both came out of the volcano
Volcano and Dante's Peak.
Right. And what was it? Ants in a Bug's Life.
Ants, Bugs Life.
Jesus
Blade and
Christ.
Vampires.
Did Woody Allen do a voice in Ants? Is that
Yes.
is that fucking
and Sylvester
real?
Stallone. And
What the
Stallone.
fuck, man?
Believe it or not, Woody Allen being a Jew, Ants has a very big superior race Holocaust overtone. Not undertone, overtone, where the powerful want to rub out the weak. And it's just funny that he's the voice against tyranny. It's bitter. I think Woody Allen's
I know, but I just think it's so strange for him to go do something like that. To me, that's really good. That was before.
do all kinds of things for money. You gotta hang out with me on like a Tuesday night. You will find
This was for cheese.
all kinds of things. Yeah. Peter does for money.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well, let's say goodbye. Why don't you say goodbye?
All right. Good night, everybody. I'll see you soon.